Lights, camera, knees, teeth, corsets, action.
I've never heard it said like that. Regardless, welcome once more to Rogue Trader, the world, galaxy really, of Warhammer 40k. We last left our group on Quasimodo, where they continued to be injured, and in fact got more injured through mostly ill luck. Essentially, most of the group went their separate ways practically. Only darn, I went and forgot the Carnamord and Skith. That's it. Carnamord and Skith stuck together. However, Desmonda and Sigismund actually went to the upper level and separated to go to their various, we'll call them factions for now. Essentially, they did not gain over much information. Sig probably gained the most useful information, the idea that there is an apothecary on planet for some reason, and that there are a number of essentially battle medics underneath him that you could possibly use to start getting your arms, legs, and faces fixed. However, there's been more problems as of late, it seems. Despite their stellar efforts, Carnamord and Skith were unfortunately found out in their little ruse. And not only was their ship forced to essentially retreat from the docks entirely to save it being blasted like it's not, but they themselves had to beat a hasty retreat, and Sketh was so blasted and unlucky from between his slow speed and a lot of pissed off Imperial guards, he very nearly died twice, requiring him to not only spend various fate points, but burn one as well. A very unfortunate situation. However, with a little effort and a lot of luck, and of course Carnamore providing some rather surprisingly effective cover, Skath manages to escape with his life and crawl through the sewer, essentially, or at least the bowels of this massive city, get a funny new disease to his list of diseases that's just steadily growing today, and make his way back to the lower level where it is safer, let's call it. We left ourselves with Des praying, Sigismund actually going to go see if he can talk or at least find some stuff out about the nobles and see if anyone has a spare personal doctor at hand. While most interesting, bleh,
Lee.
yes, that. Our Xeno and Xeno sympathizer, mutant, whatever you want to call him, found out a number of way more
Discreet.
Yes, that's a good word. Discrete things. First and foremost was the fact that there is more than just the hangars on the mid-level. There's not only we're going to call it a sensitive goods hangar on the mid-level that isn't necessarily listed or controlled by the guard directly, but there's also a lower-level hangar, which shouldn't exist but does. A bit of explaining on the safety and dangers of the pair. It seemed the group, or at least Carnamore and Skith, seem to agree that the mid-level is a teeny bit safer if it might cost them. However, thankfully, they also remembered, oh right, Skith is basically falling apart, and his face doesn't resemble much of a face, and not like it started off good to begin with, and did inquire about if there was any sort of down-low medicals that wouldn't replace his face with a shoe or something equally stupid. And thankfully, by trading something of rather impressive value, I believe it was the space chart you created on getting here?
The warp chart, yep.
Yes, that's the one. Alright, by trading that to him, you were able to basically gain knowledge straight up that, yes, there is a person, he keeps referring to as Doc, on the mid-level, who, despite missing his arms, apparently can still perform surgeries. And that is where we left off. So, with not Carnamore, keeping you guys confused. Not Des. Sigs, that's it. Sigismund. With Sigismund, your captain off doing a thing, and his character player not being here, we'll start with Des, I believe, because she'd be the one at this stage. Desmonda, you are praying. Do you continue to do so?
You know the boring answer is just going to be yes, right?
Yeah, I'm aware. I had to check.
She stops praying and runs amok with her shooting everybody in the place.
You mean that's not how she prays?
No, she flails herself to prey. They're weird like that.
Yep, flagellants.
Oh,
And when I say
flagellation.
flail, I mean
There we
like
go.
they either use a flail or a really sharp whip. You pick one.
Flatulence is something else.
Yeah, slightly different. Honestly, my original plan was for her to be doing this until she got, pulled up by the captain, so this is slightly awkward.
Well, no, I have a solution, actually. I was going to do this regardless, because it's, I'm just taking my timetable. Well, it wouldn't happen immediately, but point is it happened before these two got to the captain. Anyway, at some point during your extensive rituals, the priest returned. Where did I put him? Ah, Hilgir. So, Hilgir the Overt, essentially just, he doesn't interrupt you necessarily. You are still praying, and that is a sacred duty, yada, yada, yada. But he is kind of standing by the door in a semi-expectant manner. Whether you address him or just continue is up to you. He would not dare interrupt a sister who needs to atone and all that.
Right. Let's see. She's probably at least on her knees in a generic praying pose at the moment, not quite whipping. She'll just ask, yes, brother?
Have you a moment, sister?
I believe I can spare a moment since you've allowed me to use your house.
Praise be. He kind of wanders over and kneels next to you. He's pretty big now that you're, next to him. We're talking, this man should either be a space marine or he's been taking some shit at some point, because he's really big. Then again, you are relatively small, so hard to say to be super specific.
She's not a large woman.
Yeah, so just looking at him, though, the first thing comes to mind is space marine. He sort of rumbles a moment, some rumbled prayer to the Emperor, no doubt, before he says, "If you have time, I would request a small favor."
The least I can do is hear you out. What do you wish?
I have few of those of the faith on this world, sadly. Few I could trust, that is. Many praise the Emperor, as should be, but those who directly work for the ecclesiarchy are in the minority. And I have no sisters of battle of which to obviously send on such a thing. I have had rumor and tell of the arbitraries using filthy scum, mutants, the unclean, to attempt to remove less clean parts of the city, if you understand, trying to work evil against itself. I do not fully approve. On the outset, it sounds intelligent, let us use that word. Let the enemy destroy itself, yes? The issue I come into is the ever-reaching dangers of heresy and the whatnot. He treads a dangerous line in using, well, the enemy against itself. By communing with the enemy and seeing its tactics and revealing oneself to the vile mutant, you risk corruption. I would ask that you simply check on the situation. See if the arbitrator is at all falling in any way, and tell me of it. Or, if you find it necessary, act. It is your duty, after all. I cannot simply approach him and accuse him if that is not clear. He is the law here, yes, to a point.
I understand, brother. He walks a dangerous line. It stinks of heresy.
And thus I ask the favor.
A favor I will gladly do.
Good, good sister. Emperor be with you, and may he guide you always. And he just sort of rises.
And you, brother.
And wanders off. So how much a priority you want to put on that is your business. I just needed to throw that out there.
Right.
So unless you do something right now, I will jump to the other group.
Go ahead, and she'll probably finish up in a more quick manner before heading off herself, but still some time.
Okay, so only a half dozen whippings, not a dozen. Gotcha. Sketh is correct, yes. Right, speaking of Sketh, your face hurts. Like a lot.
What face?
Good
This one
comeback.
over here to the left of my scars.
Yes, well, you have your information, including where this dock might be located, if you're desperate enough to try a lower city dock. Now, according to the captain, good old Ahab, he did say he was able to, give Ahab his arms, and they clearly work fine. And again, he says he's trustworthy, but how much you trust Ahab is again up in the air. So, Carnamore, Skeeth, it's up to you where you go, including if you want to simply try and check out one of those hidden docks, let's call them. Hangars, docks,
I believe the doctor is our first priority.
Fair enough.
Alrighty.
Right, do you take the shortest route possible, or do you try and avoid the more dangerous gangs? Dumb
Oh,
question,
we're-
but I have to ask.
We'll use
We-
the map.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to ask. All right,
We're just
Let me
gonna
just
run
roll
for
time.
it like idiots.
I need to roll time. Okay, not that long passes actually. However, you're rapidly approaching the end of the day. Giant finger quotes. Sleep cycles, essentially. So you're
Somewhere
entering-
high above, the sun is going down, but down here, there's no sign of it day or night.
Yeah. Essentially, there are going to be less people, but more criminals about when the sleep cycles kick in. Simply how it is. So, yeah, you'd reach him without any problem, except one. It's pretty clear that his building, not really a shop, it is a building. And unlike most of this place, it is a proper building, better than even Ahab's. It is like something that was built there originally and houses a person. You'd guess it to be 2 stories, 4 rooms, maybe more. Depending. Like I said, it's not super clear without getting inside. And more importantly, it has guards. Not Imperial guards, thankfully, but it's hard to argue that a bunch of people standing around with las guns is not guards. And by people, I do mean people. They look just like... They look grizzled and know what they're doing, but beyond that, they are human.
Are they in any sort of uniform, or are they...
No, they look ragtag. The only matching thing you could guess they have is they do have gang symbols on them, but you can throw a lore at me to try and figure out what gang this specifically is. I will also accept a raw int check.
Sounds like raw protection detail. I don't think this falls under the heading of common lore underworld.
It would.
It would?
Yes, this would fall under. Yes, this actually would follow underneath that. A gang in the lower city would most definitely.
Alright, in that case I just need to find my damn token so
I
I
will
can
also
roll my
accept a
dice.
perception check to try and determine what specific weapons they have on themselves. If you have some sort of device that lets you see much clearer from a larger distance, I'll also take that, though I don't think you do.
Yeah, my specs only has a range of 50 meters.
Not really much better. And it's mostly for seeing through stuff, not to stuff.
Lore Underworld, 55.
That gang all have matching tattoos on the cheek. Looks a bit like a syringe. Or at least some kind of syringe. Most syringes don't have like 8 fucking needles, but point is, if you had to pick which gang they are, they're most likely going to be a drug-addled gang. Very likely more or less addicts, drug addicts of some shape and form, that are essentially tied to this dock out of desperation, basically giving him protection in exchange for drugs. Is the most likely scenario there. Judging from the way their veins are and the kind of wild look in their eye, they're not high now, but they've been high a lot, so you'd guess at worst they're inured to pain. At best, their shots are going to be wild and crazed and unpredictable. Best for you, mind you.
On the plus side, that means that they may actually follow his orders if they contradict with what they'd normally get up to. So I look to Carnivore. Do you want to go first and find out if he's willing to accept a unusual patient in through the back door?
Yeah, that seems like the way to go about this.
I'll try
All
not
right.
to be seen down here.
For the sake of knowing, you do have ducked into an alleyway, like maybe 60 meters away, give or take. It depends. Point is, they're probably not going to see you from that distance, and you can barely see them. So,
Yep. It's just a figure at that distance, anyways.
Right. So, Carnivore, you want to approach? All right. Would you like to make a perception check before you get there to see if they're like doing anything particular as you approach?
Sure. I'm just quickly. I'm just noticing that some of my stuff didn't stick from last time. Just a second.
It's okay.
Yeah, because we got 750. I should have.
You did save a fair amount of it, but
Yeah, but I should be at 1500 spent with 250 unspent. And I used 500 to boost my fellowship from 58 to 63, and that didn't stick. So
weird.
okay, fixed her up.
All right. So I will allow perception if you want to try and determine stuff about them before you get there. Otherwise, you'll just walk to them or do whatever
Sure,
other action you want to do. You want to put on a sombrero and dance a circle? You go ahead.
I put on a sombrero.
I assume you're drawing a weapon and shoot. I don't know. Roll your perception.
That base perception or awareness?
Base awareness would be noticing other things. This is looking at a thing. Awareness is a little different.
Okay, base perception is better for me anyway. Yeah, that was versus
That's a 92. I don't
33.
think it's not that easy. They may
Everything
be
is
wielding
perfectly
war
fine.
clubs. They could be wielding like war mauls, like power mauls and power fists, or they just have really big hands. Hard to say.
Oh well, I can run faster scared than they can with a war maul.
This is true. As you finally get within distance to actually see them, they're decently heavily armed. They do have las guns, but only a couple. Most of their weapons are slug throwers. That or they're, fucking bolters, but you really hope they're not.
Well, in
'Cause
that case, I will attempt to speak to the doctor.
They actually don't stop you in any way, shape, or form. They just kind of look you over once, grunt, and that's it. I mean, one of them is shivering, but that doesn't really mean anything to you. Right, so entering is a simple process of open the sodding door. The first thing you hear is a grinding sound, a bit like metal on metal, but not quite. It sounds more organic than that. Seems to be coming from the room on your right. There's a metal door in the way. Looks like it's open, if you want to just barge in.
Sure, I will just barge in.
Alright, you just barge in. Inside is a pile of meat. I mean, at one point it might have been in a being, but it's definitely a pile of meat at this stage with some bone, and Human is a good word. Let's go with human. You think it's a human. It's got legs, a torso, but no arms. Instead of arms, it has tentacles. You're not a heavy tech user, but they kind of look like really flexible mechanical arms. Something you'd see on like an unusually advanced servitor, maybe. There's lots of them, like 5 per shoulder. They're just sort of flailing at the meat and harvesting, maybe? And it's making a horrible fucking sound. He didn't hear you.
Hello, are you the doctor?
No response. Again, that noise is quite loud.
I will tap on his shoulder.
Okay,
And that's when he punches me in the face with his tentacle arms.
Well, not on purpose. He did kind of turn. He tried to turn around too swiftly, and I need you to. Well, okay, hold on. Okay, he misses. The torso like turns on itself. The legs don't move; it just rotates. And luckily, your shock doesn't last long because you neatly duck one of the flailing tentacles as the thing turns. It's yeah, it's human, probably. You can't really even tell the gender at this point. Its face is pretty badly mangled. It has a lot of cybernetics screwed into it. At least one cybernetic eye. It's got several patches on the cheeks and forehead. And the torso is covered by, well, blood stains mostly, but you think there's a coat that's supposed to absorb most of the blood stains, but at this point that's a lost cause. It makes a surprised sound, something between a girlish scream and a guttural growl at the same time, and I can't do both, so you just have to imagine that, damn it. And then it speaks proper. Oh. Visitor? Or you do not look injured.
I have a companion who is seriously injured, but I
Are
didn't
you
want to bring him through the
from-
front.
Are you? Are you? Are you?
Am I what?
Are you? There's a long, awkward pause. A sort of shrug. You think it's a shrug, or maybe he's reaching up to scratch his own back. You don't fucking know. You're not. Anyway, what this friend?
Would you... I have a rather unusual companion I'd like to bring in through the back so people don't see him.
Unusual. I like that. That is good. Yes, this is acceptable. Yes.
Okay.
One problem. There is no back.
Okay. What is there a more secretive way to bring people in?
Yes. In body bag.
Do you have a body bag?
Yes. And the doesn't really walk or move anywhere. Just the tentacles kind of extend far longer than you expect them to, and about 3 of them wind around a bag in the corner. It's not very clean, but there you go.
Okay, thank you. I will be right back.
Acceptable.
So I'm going to go back to Sketh.
And by clean, I didn't mean like there's some blood on it. And by some, I mean a lot.
That's okay. I'm going to bring the body bag back to Sketh.
So, Garnamort arrives with a large, about human-sized bag slung over his shoulder. It seems to be leaking blood. His first words are, "I found the doctor. He was disagreeable."
That is an interesting way to transport medical supplies. Why is it already bleeding?
Best not to think about it. This is the only way to get you in to see him. So, hop in. And I open the bag.
Oh. Oh.
Get in the bag, Xeno scum.
I hold the bag upside down a moment to see if I can shake out a bit more of its previous occupant.
A leg falls out.
Glad I did that.
I think it's a left leg.
Are you sure you're strong enough to drag me over there?
I don't know. How much do you weigh?
I suppose we're about to find out. I climb in.
Smells pretty bad.
Oh, yeah.
How is push drag calculated in the system?
If it was important to the moment, I'd probably tell you you're not probably able to lift him, but you definitely push or drag him just because you're not exactly bulky. I believe it's calculated based on a certain trait, but I'll have to look into it directly. I will say this, though. Most people can lift a person. A person who spends most of his life inside of a starship looking at nerd language probably can't. So, however, there is no time crunch, so I will let you just kind of drag him along without any issue.
Yeah, I think it's related to strength. There's just not a spot on my sheet for it.
It's somewhere, but like I said, you're not in a time crunch this second, so we'll pass for the moment. We will do need to
Okay.
look that up.
My strength is 25 if you ever look it up, but I should be able to push drag a person. So.
Yeah, no, that's, like I said, pushing drag, no problem. I'd argue you lifting him at 25, but other than that. Because 50 is supposed to be a whole
he
fuck
hops
ton.
into the bag, and I just grab the bag and drag
Start
it
dragging it,
behind
yeah.
me.
Inside the bag, as I get in, I would like to make sure that I take some piece of my clothing and cover the worst of the wounds on my face, just to keep the previous occupant's blood from getting in it so easy.
Ah, okay, so you're actually taking some level of caution. Good on you.
Yeah, and I'm speaking of caution. I am also going to have my pistol in hand inside, and otherwise just try to go as limp as possible.
Fair enough. How about... Well,
As
this is
limp
more
as a
acting
biscuit.
than anything. A disguise check, I suppose? Trying to figure out which one of these would be the best. Deceive is close. But so is disguise. I'm going to say deceive. You are just trying to go limp after all. So, Skith, please make me a deceive check to be dead.
Alright.
Play dead, sucker.
Possum should be a skill.
It is either 75 or 85, depending on how you call it.
I call it as you fucking succeeded, son. Yes, you are very dead, and the guards don't even blink as you drag. They don't even seem to care as he drags in a corpse, what they think is a corpse. So, it doesn't take you long at all to reach the doc, who has not budged still. He may or may not be bolted to the floor. He sort of, or she, or it, stares at the bag and goes, "You can come out. Or you can't, but you can."
Is this off?
I will unzip the bag for him.
Put that down. Make a, let's go with intelligence check, actually.
Raw int?
Yes, please.
Raw int 55.
Well, you're not sure how, but he said put that down, and he can only really be referring to your weapon. Oh, right, you own one of these. Yeah, you think he might have the same cybernetic upgrade you do that lets him see through objects, so it's very likely he sees the fact, or she, or it, notices the fact you've drawn a gun and is telling you to put that shit down, please.
With the bag opened, I look, hear no screams, and don't hear gunfire immediately. So I look at the doctor, thumb the safety back on, and reholster it. Hello!
You are hideous!
I've come to appreciate the meaning of that term lately.
Disgusting, Xeno, in my shop. How lucky. I only ever get corpses. of Xeno. Tell me, were you blue or were you red?
I am blue. The inside of your bag is red.
Oh. So what is wrong?
I have been shot many times. I would I would like these wounds tended before these bullets become part of my anatomy.
Then what does I get? I will accept your organs.
I need those.
But so do I. We all need organs.
You say you only get corpses normally.
Ah, Xenos, yes, corpses, but livings of the humans and the mutants and the others.
Well, I could tell you about the Tau. Things that you would not learn interrogating corpses.
Yes, that's why living is important. Your heart speaks such language. Can I have it?
I know for certain I need that part.
I have spares.
I
They are
have
metal and wheels, but
I have emotional attachment to this one. It's very close to
emotions. Yes. Emotions, yes. I remember the emotions.
I could trade you much knowledge, or I could perhaps
Knowledge
be
of?
of anything, please. I could tell you much of the Tao that may be useful
Which way
to
does your spine bend? Sort of leans a bit forward.
I lean forward and touch my toes. And then straighten back up before he gets any ideas.
Which way can't it bend?
Other way.
All the ways?
Little bit back, not very far.
Fingers. How many? What stories they must tell. It is decided. I will take hand.
I do need 2 hands.
Then you pay for new hand.
Yeah, we were already discussing payment.
Yes, hand.
I do not want to barter this up to an arm or a leg. Tell me, how expensive is it to run an operation like this? I gesture my
all.
arms widely.
Not at all.
No?
Or very. Could be very. Not in charge of that. Don't care.
So I don't suppose you have any
Uncle
books that could use
provides.
reviewing.
No. Ask Uncle. If Uncle doesn't shoot you. Uncle likes to shoot things.
I am. Sketh is looking around and trying desperately to find some way out of this that will let him leave with both of his hands
Well,
and his
around,
heart.
there actually aren't really any tools. It seems every tool is incorporated into those. Again, tentacles is a good word. It's more like really flexible arms. And they don't have tools out at the moment, but Carnivore would be the one to say, yeah, no, there's tools in there. Mostly saws. That you could easily presume he has more. It's actually a fairly advanced bit of tech. And it looks like someone Tech Priest would have, or at least put on a servitor. He looks mostly like a servitor, or it. Again, gender's nothing to this thing. Still covered in blood. The walls have some blood on them. Otherwise, they're pretty barren. There is at least one part on the southern wall, like behind him, essentially. That looks like a bunch of alcoves for materials. Otherwise, just the door behind you to the other rooms.
Mm-hmm.
Are you offering lungs? I like lungs.
Oh no, he's gonna steal your lungs, and then I'm gonna have to let him go on his way.
Okay, so he's only interested in the
Well, essentially, he
the
seems to, from what you've gathered, he definitely just wants parts. He seems to have no interest in money directly so far. He seems to want Xenos parts, if you're offering. Um, I suppose a barter would help you here if you would just be bartering parts of yourself at this stage. Unless you can convince him you have something else worth noting.
I'm sure that you could learn much from a still working body. Just a second.
Yes. Kind of imagine Carnivore in the corner with some popcorn, just like wondering how he's going to get out of this one now.
You know, my praying and flail seems a lot better than the situation.
Yeah, your situation's pretty positive comparatively.
I'm afraid that I need all of the pieces that I have that are working. I just need a few of the ones that aren't to do. But I'm sure you could learn much from an intensive scan of a working body.
Ooh, intensive. I like that sound.
Non intensive, but perhaps the word I'm looking for is non invasive.
I like that sound too.
Non invasive.
Yes. Invasive. Very fun
Non.
word. What do they mean?
It means you find out what you want to do from arm's length away instead of
You can do that? How? I have no material nor technology to let me do such a thing. What technology do you have?
I
Ooh, filthy Xenos tech.
I narrow my eyes a little and then tap my eye and point at his face.
That does not let me see much in the way of how things are. I need my limbs in it. I need to feel it moving.
Hmm.
What is it you need fixing? You keep mentioning parts that don't work. What don't they work?
My face is quite badly damaged.
You're not supposed to look like that?
No, my face is normally
Oh.
not so scarred and burned and riddled with bullets, and nor
Does you
are
have a
normally.
picture how you supposed to be looking?
I think for several seconds and look to my data slate to see if I do.
You would, naturally. It's a bit old, but it is you.
Uh, my official diplomatic ID.
Ooh. You were even uglier before. How interesting. I could fix that. For parts. Hmm. Hmm. You will not be sharing your parts with me because you don't want to. A shame. But you want things fixing. Hmm. No deal. Fetch me supply. Need need anything. Uncle does not like me using certain practices on things. Thinks it encourages bad thoughts. Hit me things, we'll fix. And he produces, and I do mean produces, it like clips out of one of the tentacles a sheet of, well, kind of looks like human skin with stuff written on it, so that's pleasant. If someone wants to take that, that's their business. I'm not touching it. Ha ha ha.
I take the list and peruse it while holding it with as little of my fingers as I can.
This is a long list, and you understand maybe none of it. It's a lot of medical lingo and official terms for things, and whatever the hell a Google glaggle glaggle is. That's not even a word. Yeah, if you had to just kind of throw an idea out there, he might be asking for, like, local creature bits or certain kinds of drug or something, but again, if you have no medical training, this is all just another language to you. He kind of handed you a shopping list of illegal goods, is what the vibe you're getting.
Mm-hmm.
The list vibrates.
Well, the dock vibrates a bit. Get the bits and bobs and I'll fix up just this picture.
I can get you. I'm sure I could find some of these. But is there any chance of an installment plan? Because I'm quite badly injured here.
Uncle said not to, but Uncle not supposed to know what you're doing. So yes. Don't tell Uncle. He will get the shootings and the stabbings and the words. Come, lay down. He kind of, again, torso twists completely around and just kind of wiggles its tentacles in the vague direction of the table covered in blood.
I look desperately at Carnivore and hand him some of my outer garments. Cloak and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And do I need to push the body that was busy being vivisected there, that's still there, aside first?
No. It wasn't even close to a body at that point, more like a pile of meat. And that is neatly off the table. It was shoved at some point.
So, just a nice, clean slab of carpaccio. Lovely.
Well, there's some grisly bits on there probably, but they're flat enough to where you won't notice until you lay down.
Like I said, carpaccio.
You have strange carpaccio. Moving on.
You take meat and you hit it with a hammer until it's thin enough that it can be served raw. Carpaccio.
Ew.
I lay down and roll luck.
Well, I need to roll some things if you are sticking with that. Carnivore, are you going to stay and watch? Damn, I keep grabbing the sun.
Yeah, I might as well.
Oh god,
Okay,
the sun's moving.
Yeah, I'm trying to edit a couple things for my own private notes, and the damn sun keeps scooting around.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly the planet pulls itself apart from the gravitational shifts.
This is 40k. It'd probably just grow eyes and become a new chaos god.
You're saying it's not a chaos god? Damn.
Man.
Just move the sun and planets and whatnot to the object layer and you won't accidentally grab them so often.
I like them where they are.
Righto.
Because I might actually have to move the planets around at some point, depending on the time thing.
Orbits.
Okay, if Carnivore's going to watch, I need you to make a fear check. This is something you don't want to have to see, if you can avoid it. And if you are going to stick and watch, I do need you to make a fear check.
I'm a navigator. I see things people aren't meant to see all the time.
Doesn't mean you get to skip the fear check, son.
How do you make that?
I'm looking.
Probably willpower.
Just has this problem of not being very clear of where it is, and it's not on my shorthand list, so I have to sit here in the core little book and skim.
Yeah, this thing may not have been published by Games Workshop, but it's sure as hell written the way they do. Which is to say, no cross-references whatsoever.
That just means it's authentic.
Fear, page 295.
Ah, here we go.
And shock on the previous page.
Ah, okay. It is, in fact, a willpower test, so goo.
Brad?
Sorry. I my thing. What am I doing?
Rolling willpower for a fear check.
Okie dokie. My willpower is 41.
Oh, fun. Fun happens now, children. You have failed. More
3
often,
degrees.
Yeah, 3 degrees, and this is what happens. You have gained 5 insanity points.
Oh no!
You
I
failed by
already had
30 or
3
more.
of them.
Well, you add them to the list. So now you have 8.
Cool.
What do those do to me?
Well, as you progress further down the insane... Basically, once you hit certain numbers, I believe 20 is the first one, you start going insane. Stuff starts happening. You start seeing things. You legitimately start going crazy.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
starting at 10, you become unsettled.
And you have 8. Sorry, you rolled the highest you could roll. So, sorry.
Is
Or
there
I
any
did.
way to dump them?
Not generally. They're really hard to shake off. There are ways, but they're extremely rare and unusual. There's no easy way. Going crazy is not something you can just shrug off.
Yeah, there's some rather there's some talent to help you prevent it from happening, but you have
Not
to be
many ways to get rid of
proactive.
it. Alright, the good news is you're not in combat, so you don't have to roll on the shock table. You just have to minus 10 penalty any skill or test that requires concentration waiting while you're anywhere near this.
Okay.
You actively are horrified by this. Watching this is watching a person come apart at the seams. It is not fun. Also, it's a Xeno, so that's just double horrifying.
And yet I can't look away.
Kind of, yeah. You think you hear something in your mind go twang. Right. So while that's going on, and Carnivore is likely throwing up in a nearby bucket, if there even is a bucket, let's jump over to Des. Des, it's been more or less your prayer is finished, at least the medium-length version of it.
I assume she's got all her gear back
Yeah, it
on and
didn't
all
go
that.
anywhere. It didn't grow legs.
No, I mean like got dressed and everything.
Ah, yes, you are dressed and ready to go.
Perhaps retrieved may have been the better word.
All right. Her first order of business is to find the priest again.
Not very difficult. He's still in his office. Seems not surprised to see you, but curious. Yes.
Hello, brother. I seek information on finding this arbitrator and anything I may know that may help my task.
Ah, he won't be difficult to locate. Last I had heard from him, he should be on the mid-level at a guard barracks. He had business there of some nature or another, likely accusing or dragging someone off. As to information, all I can say is he is a harsh man as benefits his position.
Very well. I have one favor in return to ask of you, brother.
Oh?
If a tech priest comes by looking for me, he is an associate of mine. I've been working with him closely. Please send him in my direction.
Very well. Unusual request, but one I am willing to make.
Yes, there have been unusual circumstances. Thank you, brother.
Of course, sister. May the Emperor guide you.
And you.
And off you go.
Off she goes.
Right, so you're in the noble. Just trying to see whether the surgery. I need to do some rolls, see whether the surgery finishes first or. Okay, well, he rolled high. Or rather, he rolled well, let's call it, not high. High is bad in this. Okay, so he finishes the surgery first. You still haven't gotten its name, so that's funny. The doc, after. Well, the good news is he apparently has some kind of numbing sensation. He knocked you out or something, because Skith, thankfully, was not aware of what was going on at the time. Garnemord was, and boy, was that fun. It involved a lot of peeling. Yes, though. So his skill, I believe it is, for first aid. Yes, his skill plus. Just gotta double check. Make sure I'm not giving you too many, because I think he might have just fully fucking healed you. What is your maximum wounds, Keith?
10, which is what I'm currently at in damage.
Yeah. And how many critical damage are you at? I'm hearing anything, you just hit 0, right?
I believe I did deliberately negate all the critical damage I received. Like
Yeah.
with Fate.
I don't remember getting any fatigue either, so.
I do have 1 fatigue.
One. Okay.
You have 1 fatigue, you're not heavily or critically damaged because you use things, so you would technically be lightly damaged, so you do get a lot back.
I think light is when you're at half wounds.
Oh, really? Oh, well,
Yeah.
then it is just the 1 then. Sorry. Okay, double checking his things. You regain 2 wounds because of certain things he has. So you regain 2 wounds, and you're no longer dying, I guess. 2 wounds restored.
Alrighty.
That's all he can do short term. You'd have to stay with him for a while if you wanted to do something better.
Okay.
So he or it or whatever sort of again doesn't move, just sort of scoops you up and plonks you right side up, more or less next to it, and you feel better-ish. Yeah, it doesn't hurt as bad, and well, you can see clearer. Thankfully, due to the roll, it was able to remove both the pink eye infection and restore you 2 wounds, thanks to certain materials going on.
Roger.
Just far better than you would normally get, so be happy. Now go fetch me my naughties.
No, Oh dear. I shall endeavor. Do you have any recommendations on how I get past your guards, or do I have to go back in the bag?
What guards?
The men outside with tattoos and clubs and guns.
Oh. Tell them uncle? Cry uncle, yes, yes.
Hey, Carnivore, I'm getting back in the bag.
Good plan.
I love how you trust him to, like, rearrange your organs and don't trust him to.
Don't trust him to.
I don't
Anything.
know. Say the passphrase, maybe?
I don't trust the guys outside.
Fair enough. Alright, back in the bag you go. It's just as stinky as you left it. As for curiosity, he actually does really surprisingly good work. Your face does actually resemble a younger you, almost to a T. Really, the only injury he had trouble with is internal, you'd have to guess. Like, you look fine, but you still feel pretty banged up.
Mm-hmm.
He basically put a band-aid on it that looks really good.
Right out.
Still, your eyes don't sting as they used to, so that's a plus.
Good, good. Into the bag. Just tell the guys outside that the doctor couldn't help, and now you're taking me to give me a proper funeral.
So I'll throw you in the furnace then, alright?
Well, the one down the street. I don't know how these people work.
They usually
Sketh
don't
says.
care.
In
All
the
right.
bag.
Guard, would you like to carry him or just drag him?
I will drag him.
Drag, drag, drag. You drag him outside where the guards look at you. I would request another deceive roll from Sketh to act dead, but I doubt you're going to fail. Yeah, you act really dead, so they don't care. They just sort of jitter a bit, presume talking about whatever scum is. They seem to be talking about it as in it's not a person so much as a thing. And you can pass right by. No trouble. However, at this point, it is fully within the sleep cycle part, so there's not anyone on the streets that looks like there's a lot of knives.
Roger.
So you can duck into an alleyway and be semi-safe, but they're going to see you get out of the alleyway. So I suggest not looking Xeno.
I will cover up as best as I can with my robes again.
You mean the blood-soaked robes?
Yeah, well, there's
You went and forgot about that little bit.
no. I just I don't think anything down here is clean enough for me to go particularly unnoticed in this way, so
So, coated in blood, you're just going to try and look like a human coated in blood. Some of which is actually your own and therefore blue.
Carteret, I don't suppose your people have ever heard of water.
You've heard legends of it.
I've heard of it, yes.
You need more of it in places like this. Just saying.
They have shit tons, but it's not for anyone to drink.
That's not up to me.
All right.
The nobles might have some.
Believe me, I grew up in a place like this. I know how awful it is.
Well, do you think red makes me look badass and imposing, so that people won't look too closely?
It more makes you look dirty, but I don't think anyone's looking too closely either way.
I look at this shopping list.
We should really get you some sort of mask.
I plan on working on it.
The shopping list is, as ever, impossible to really get anything out of. I mean, it's not like you list places to get these things. And most of them are barely words. At least you believe them to be barely words. Again, medical lingo. So yeah, definitely with a couple of those things, like liver of the Zabwort is probably a creature. I mean, it could be a term, but again, probably.
Hmm.
Ow, my Zabwort.
Well, he said that these are things that are difficult to get hold of.
Or at least not legal.
I think we can. We may find our best lead towards this sort of thing at that spaceport where we are hoping to find purchase for your vessel. Around there, we're at least likely to find people who know whether these things come from off-world or if we could source them locally.
An astute observation.
I don't suppose you're in touch with your pilot.
No, they got out of range when they left.
Well, let's hope Tower Control lets you borrow their radio.
That's the plan.
I believe you have the best memories of the map. Lead on. While I try to stand behind you and not look worth noticing.
Disguise and deceive, please. Disguise to determine how well the disguise is. Deceive to see whether or not you go, like, don't look at me, the blood is clearly paint.
Disguise is only 32. But
Yet you made
today
it.
I rolled it.
You look
Deceive, on the other
surprisingly
hand,
human.
is 85.
Damn. Okay. No one can. Yeah. You actually pass off the red stuff as like part of your clothes. Like this is just the color. Okay. That makes things simple. Again, avoiding gangs. Des. We're back to you. You have arrived at mid-level. And there are actually a number of guard, like Imperial Guard posts, but he seemed to be implying the big one, which is more or less a barracks. Fairly simple to find because, of course, it is. It's a sodding barracks, and you hear commotion, let's call it. And there are some guards who are. They might stop you, they might not, but there's definitely commotion coming from the training yard, which is, of course, near the barracks.
Well, she's a sister. She's just walking in. Someone
Yeah.
stops her, they can stop her.
They don't even try. I mean, they raise their brows, but they respectfully do nothing. Do you head straight for straight for the inside of the barracks, or are you gonna go check out the training yard?
Might as well see what the commotion is first.
All right. The commotion seems to be coming from. You want to call it a crowd? I mean, 20-ish. Well, more importantly, there's 5 Imperial Guards standing in a line with las guns at the ready, with 20-ish other troopers just kind of watching from a safe distance, let's call it. As a man in a very long black duster of sorts, more of a coat, is gesticulating wildly at a woman in chains attached to a wall that the men with the las guns are pointing at. Specifically, the man is gesticulating at her and one of the guard who is kind of shivering a bit. You're almost within hearing range to like make out what's being said, but you can try a perception check to like stay at a distance and still hear. Up to you. So you need to get closer and hear what's being said, or try and maintain distance and hear it, but I need a roll for that.
Can I roll as she moves forward until basically she hears what's going on?
Well, yeah, but at that point you're going to get close enough to hear stuff anyway. I'm just curious whether you want to maintain distance and hear, or
No.
just hear.
She's moving in.
Okay, moving in. As you move in, it becomes clear what the man in the nice coat is saying. She is a heretic, and as such you will fire on my command. Are you not listening? Do you sympathize with heresy? And it's more or less that. And it's lengthy. He's got a mouth on him. He can go on at this for a while. He seems to be directing this primarily at the one in, I guess, first in line holding the last gun. He's the one shivering and clearly not sure what to do. Do you do anything? Again, they seem to be accusing a woman bound in chains to a wall of heresy, and she kind of just looks like your average underfed lower city dweller.
Right.
I mean, she's weeping, but that's expected.
Yeah, well, that's not unexpected at all. Yeah. Let's see. What's the line between me and them? Like, how crowded is this?
Like I said, there's roughly 20 people, but they're so spread out into the side that it would just be a straight walk. They're trying to not get involved very hard, because for a good reason.
Yeah, Desdemona's just gonna walk straight forward.
All right, are you interrupting, or?
Yes.
Oh, how precisely?
Well, more or less just by making her presence known.
He doesn't seem. Well, no one's. I mean, the guards react sort of. They sort of look towards you with surprise, but the fellow in the coat just kind of keeps yelling at the one guy. They have their own little thing right there. They're kind of focused on it. So unless you say or do something, they seem.
Right. She'll turn towards the guardsman. Guardsman, why do you fight against heresy?
Are you asking the one who is being yelled at, or the one?
Yes.
Just sort of interrupt the fellow.
Yes.
He pauses mid-tirade and shoots you a look that promises a bolter to the face, but then sort of realizes who you are, and that kind of is redacted slightly. Ah, a sister. Explain to this imbecile why sympathy is nothing but a weakness on the field, and it will get him killed if he so much as shows an ounce of it on an actual battlefield. And the guard says nothing, he just kind of looks at you and looks at him and is clearly trying to decide which one he'd rather be shot by.
And damn it to you.
Say what you will, and he's giving you the floor, essentially.
Right. It is true, guardsman, on the battlefield you cannot hesitate. However, what is the situation? Why do you hesitate here?
He tries to stammer out something, but the man in the coat cuts him off almost immediately. This imbecile has decided that his family is worth more than the Emperor's will.
She is of this family.
His, daughter, yes. Second-born. Worthless, essentially.
Why
She has been accused and found guilty of heresy. She will be slain regardless of what takes place this day. I am simply awaiting this guardsman to get over his own fear. Which, at this rate, he'll be joining her.
Well, avoiding killing the heretic is true heresy. However, sympathy towards his own family is commendable. What is her charge, and how does she come to heresy?
Heresy for harboring a mutant. Simple. The arbitrator has found her guilty. We are not here to judge. We are here to commit the sentence of death. And this man, loath though I am to call him as such at this stage, is to carry out the duty. He is hesitant, and I am explaining in detail why such hesitancy is as close to heresy as her own action.
It is the Emperor's will that heretics must perish. However, truly must her own family do the deed.
He was pointed out for duty this day. I see no reason to set him aside. If he is able to perform this task, then there is no task he will not do in the Emperor's name. It is truly a test of faith, the Emperor or his own selfish needs.
Very true. However, he is just a man, flawed as he may be.
And flawed men do not belong in the Imperial Guard. He is expected to give his all, and if he will not, I will take his all. I have been patient up to this point.
Question. Since she has quick draw, how quickly can she raise a pistol and shoot her?
Shoot who?
The woman in question.
With quick draw, what's your agility? I'm gonna check it.
40.
Pretty fucking fast. Yeah, at a 40 agility, you could pull, it depends on who you're comparing it to, but way faster than anyone else in the party. Which is damn fast.
Because that's what I'd like her to do.
Pull out the pistol and just blast the girl.
Execute the woman, yeah.
Okay, I will allow this. What? I do still need a ballistics check. I mean, it's like a don't roll a 90, but still.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch you roll a 90 and laugh my ass off now.
God damn it.
Okay, well, it just kind of went, so.
Considering I forgot the 1 and 100, there we go.
There you go. Yes, you were able to swiftly draw your pistol and more or less stop the argument by shooting the problem. Hell pistol, right?
No, bolt pistol.
Oh, bolt pistol. Okay, well, she
Yeah.
explodes in a shower of gore.
Pretty much.
So that's fun. I need to check something.
As Coattails stammers at having been not only interrupted, but also flummoxed. Now, how am I supposed to teach this soldier a lesson?
Bang! Nail on the head, actually. Okay, I will need a fear check from you. Which, it's not really a fear check, it's more like I want to maintain my level of composure check, but yeah, fear check is the closest I got.
Alright, let's see. Dang it, what's...
Willpower. Just a
willpower.
willpower check.
I can re-roll this if it fails.
Fair enough. You did not fail. You maintain cool, distant composure as you blast someone to bits. The man grumbles is a good word. He doesn't seem impressed. He just seems irritated. Judgment has been carried out, soldier. You will not always have a sister willing to dirty your hands instead of you. Sort of irritatingly, more or less waves the firing squad off and then looks at you like... It has that, like, I'm going to shoot you in the face with the bolter look again. So, sister, other than removing an excellent example of what it takes to be part of the Empire, of the Imperial Army, what is it you want? Well, Imperial Navy, but whatever.
I'm here to speak with your arbitrator.
Him? Seems you take the law into your own hands as it is, sister, but as it stands, he's in the barracks.
Very well.
He sort of stands there and continues glaring at you.
He's
You
up.
think you're dismissed, but he can't, like, actively dismiss you, because technically you have the same rank.
And also, he's not worth her time. She's leaving.
Yeah, fair enough. You, walk off, I suppose, to the barracks. So, you arrive at the barracks, no trouble. Within are, well, beds, mostly. But it is very easy to find the arbitrator, because they dress a very certain way. I think I have a picture. So let me drag. Error. Hold on. Hmm. Sorry, it's giving me an error. Just need 1 second.
What's giving you what error?
I'm trying to put a picture down, but it's not sodding working.
Is it just showing up as a question mark?
No, it's giving. I can read it out 1 second. I think it's because I'm trying to take it just straight from the internet.
If you're looking at the image directly, not an image on a web page, then it should work fine. And if you're looking at an image on a web page, right-click it, and usually it's open image in a
Okay,
new
got
tab
it.
or something.
Got it. Okay, that's what it was.
Okay.
Nice, pretty picture for everyone to look at. Now then, so that fellow is more or less resting his hands upon his, well, clearly a power maul, and talking to a guard at length about something, but he halts almost as soon as you arrive. He's just looking at you.
Arbitrator, I need a word.
You have had one.
Amusing.
I find it where I may. What is it you need? If it is an accusation, I have an entire office to handle such things, sister. You do not come to me yourself. Nor do you find it necessary half the time.
I have heard concerning rumors.
Again, I have an office for such business. And again, you hardly ever need to come to me about such matters. You should, you won't. I know how it is.
I do when it is concerning you yourself.
Ah! He turns and regards you now. And what concerns me?
I have seen evidence on the lower levels. Heretics, mutants. Are you
This is
using
unusual
them?
in what manner?
It is when you are using them to clean the lower levels themselves.
Ah! I find it wise, rather. Simply encourage the infestation to eliminate itself. It means a great deal less running around and far less lives lost. Lives that matter, rather. Are you questioning my decisions? Or are you accusing me of something?
It means you're consorting with the mutant.
Oh, that is rich and amusing. No, I have nothing to do with such things. If a lower gang is being troublesome to another lower gang, and if a supply of las pistols happens to be stolen near enough to that gang to where they are supplied and thus eliminate the more dangerous one, I in no way had any reaction. In fact, I disapprove such things, but they do happen. And if they happen and so happen to reduce the troubles of the lower levels, who am I to say and blame whom? There's no one to blame, for it simply happens.
You simply let it happen.
No such thing, but I cannot be anywhere and everywhere at once. I cannot stand guard over every single shipment, you see. I am but one man.
And how many men do you have under your disposal, arbitrator?
Officially or unofficially?
Pick one.
You are amusing. Officially, 15, including myself. Unofficially, I have managed to deputize another 30. Yeah, being a deputy is official, but it's not like the same kind of official, so that's why he's allowed to deputize people. It's different.
You are not to use the heretic and mutant. You are to eliminate the heretic and mutant.
So I have been doing. If I stand aside to allow a heretic to shoot another before smashing his head in, is that wrong?
Do you then slay the heretic where he stands?
Of
Or
course.
do you allow him to go on?
I slay him where he stands. As I said, if I allow the heretic to fire upon his allies first, then destroy him, is that not the more efficient way?
Efficiency does not matter.
It does when you have as little to work with as I do. Again, I cannot be everywhere. It would grow out of control. In fact, as it is out of control. I'm simply presiding what control I have. Now, if you wish to convince your sister to show up and do the job, I have absolutely no qualms against this. However, your sisters are far too busy. Oh, what is it they do? Oh, yes, sit in ships and pray. See, while I am down here on this scum planet at the edge of the known universe, doing a job that only I could do, and one only I have been assigned, and one that needs to be done, I see no evidence of your sisters, or any other, doing exactly what needs to be done. Again, if you wish to present yourself and your sisters here to perform the duty that needs to happen, and yet will not be done unless I do it my way, then I welcome you. I welcome any help you give.
Her eyes are narrowing.
He doesn't seem impressed. As backstory, your two factions don't get along often.
Really? Really? I couldn't tell.
Well, yeah, but there's a lot more history. He's not just being a dick because he's a dick. It's just this is kind of how it goes. Your jobs are similar yet different. It's kind of like National Guard versus cops. It's like kind of like that, just more intense.
If you care so much about these lower levels, why are you here?
And not stomping around in the lower levels, swinging my hammer at anything that looks corrupted? Is that the implication?
All I see is you using the heretics to do your work. It is sloth.
Hardly sloth. I am currently asking this guardsman for information on his family. Because his family has been accused of harboring certain individuals whom are, well, have performed actions of which I need to judge them, and therefore find them. And to find them, I must speak with people. I sadly am not gifted by the Emperor to simply sense where the heretic lies, and must find him the mundane way. And that means talking.
You do seem to enjoy talking.
Speech is what the mortal man uses to communicate his thoughts.
And yet you could act instead.
Hardly. How would you act in my position? What would you do as of now? You know not where he is, you know only of who he is related. Would you scour the entire lower area, killing all those you would accuse?
If need be.
That would take a very great deal of time,
I would
and
not
quite a few
consort
innocent.
as you have.
I do not consort. Again, must I clarify? I allow, allow two gangs to eliminate one another rather than stepping in, having them join forces to fight me. Instead, I wait until they have exhausted themselves upon one another, then sweep in and destroy the remnants. Simple as that.
All right. How is he? Let's see. What's going on around us at the moment? What are we looking at here?
A lot of guards watching. With interest.
And the guard was speaking to before I arrived.
Still there, looking nervous. Kind of like he doesn't want to be there anymore. For reference, assuming this is the judge of this particular planet, he does sort of outrank you in a way. It's weird. It kind of depends. Essentially, he outranks you unless you can somehow find proof of his heresy or some judgment he made that was false or something. In which case, then you outrank him.
Yeah, at that point I become judge, jury, executioner.
You usually are. In fact, he usually is. He's just a bigger one than you, as of now.
Hmm. Is this how you seek to prove your loyalty to the Emperor in front of these men? Tell them to consort and use the heretic for their own needs rather than eliminate them immediately?
No. It is not my business what these men learn or do, unless it involves, again, accusations of heresy or harboring the mutant and the like. What these men learn from this thing is that the Sister of Battle in question questions authority. Is that what you want them to learn?
It is my duty. I do my duty.
To question authority. So as you question the Emperor, then?
I am gifted by the Emperor to question you on this regard.
And you have done a wonderful job of wasting my time. And thus the Emperor's.
You would dare believe you know what the Emperor would want best.
Do you? How I perform my duty is not your concern unless you have proof otherwise. I have judged fairly and within all confines of the law, and I have done so for many turns of this planet before you appeared, sister. I would reasonably assume I may, in fact, know more about what is going on and how best to handle this planet than you. Again, if you feel I have misjudged in some way, I invite you to head to the lower city and cleanse the place as you see fit. I will send men to collect your corpse when you are finished. For, as every god knows, you do not walk into an enemy base alone and assume you can kill every last heretic alone. It is through unity we are strong, not through dissent and heroism. False heroism, mind you.
It seems to me you cower on these upper levels.
Again, I am up here only to gain information. If that is cowardice, then you do not understand what cowardice is. I am being intelligent. I am gathering information before I simply judge. Is that so alien to you?
Ignorance is the Emperor's shield, arbitrator.
And knowledge is his sword.
I believe you are clouded in this manner. I will return.
Then return when you feel you have something to argue. He turns away.
She'll leave him. She has no pressing proof.
Oh, you don't. Right. So where will you head next, if anywhere? You've not gathered much on the fellow besides you don't like him as expected, and he doesn't like you, again, as expected.
Yep.
So returning to the brother is entirely possible. I mean, you did what he asked, but you don't really have any new information to present.
Yeah, there's no reason to return as of yet.
You have not heard from your allies in a bit.
Yeah. I pretty much know where our fearless leader is. The other two, a little less
You know where he
so.
is because he sounds drunk.
We are dead.
Yes, their corpses somewhere.
Ain't that a shame?
I think
One of us is in a body bag, so
she'll start heading over to the spaceport. The last she knew they were headed in that direction.
Ah, all right then. Let's see.
Have fun.
Yeah, I'll get to see that mess.
Yeah, have fun with that one. Carnamore, Skaith, back to you. She does need to walk there, so. You two are heading to... Oh, that reminds me. Are you actually heading to the bribe port or the secret lower level port?
bribe port. I need a place. It doesn't matter how safe it is if I can't pilot my way in and out of it.
True. Technically, Des arrives first, so I'll just do her thing, though it's fairly short. So you will run into each other, as a matter of fact. Des. You arrive where you think they were, and there's quite a lot more guard around here. Like, double. And they seem very on edge. They're ignoring you, because of course they are.
Is there anyone that looks remotely in charge?
Yes. There is one of those coated individuals in all black again. He's wearing a hat, though. It's a very nice hat.
So I'm going to assume out of character that's a commissar.
Oh, that's totally a commissar.
Would she recognize?
Pretty much immediately.
Yeah.
It's hard not to. He's got the I'm going to shoot every man here for so much as stepping the wrong direction look.
She'll approach him.
He is approached and simply glances at you uninterestingly. Anything to
Commissar.
report, or are you here to waste my time?
I am not aware of what has occurred. Why the increase in security?
You must be deaf, or that monastery has walls thicker than... Oh, hold on. Sorry, someone's doing something. Walls thicker than any Durasteel I know, or whatever they call it. It's like plasteel? I don't know. Walls thicker than a rhino. If you are not informed, then I will inform you, as it is my duty and nothing more. Know this. A Xeno has been spotted. Or at least a mutant close enough to a Xeno as to be worthy of a good... you know... good hunt, let's call it.
I see. Where was he last seen?
Here! Thus the presence.
I assume he fled. Do we have a direction?
Yes, in. Most likely down to the lowest levels if he has any sense. If not, he is dead already. Regardless, we must search.
Very well. Thank you, Commissar.
You're welcome, sister.
Well, she has a direction now.
So you do. And that direction leads you right to your allies.
Pretty
Luckily,
much.
you recognize Carnamord, so you actually wouldn't have recognized Skaith, because he's doing a damn good job, but Carnamord you spy. And you're able to meet essentially some distance away from that. So for some reason, Skaith is wearing really, like, red-brown robes this time. It smells funny.
Doesn't he always smell funny?
No, like, especially funny. Like, normally he just smells of heresy. Now he smells of, like, heresy and something to do with, like, meat.
It's the modern style.
Well, she'll approach Carnarvon. What happened?
Well, we tried to go back to the spaceship, and then The guards yelled "Bloody Zeno" and started firing at Sketh, so I ran away while screaming and firing suppression fire.
And she'll look to Sketh. Are you injured?
Not as much as I was an hour ago.
You allowed him to be injured.
I was busy being shot at the time.
Not you.
I was busy running away.
She'll grab his coat and lift it up a bit. He is my charge.
Yeah, well, he's not mine.
You were to keep him safe and out of sight.
That sounds more like a you problem, sister.
Wow, the mutant is mouthing off to you. Isn't that fucking terrifying?
I would think that's par for the course with accepted mutants.
Yeah, kind of. Doesn't make the sisters any less trigger happy, I'll tell you that.
If I did not need you, I would kill you.
Well, you know that.
If I had
That's an accepted reality of you.
Nah. If I had $1 for every time somebody said that to me.
You'd be a very rich man.
Where were you headed?
We were trying to get back to our ship. Oh, by the way, our ship took off, so we're gonna need to call it.
I think you just made her burst a blood vessel.
Well,
And it may have been one of hers.
the spaceport is not an option. Why are you anywhere remotely close to the guard?
Because that's where my ship was.
We were headed to the port on the down low, the medium tier, the mid tier
Illegal goods
smuggling
port.
port. Yeah.
Yeah. Smuggling, that's the word.
I will accompany you. You need supervision, apparently.
But when is that not true?
I and my remaining bullet wounds agree.
Right, so a lot of you have reconvened. Sig is nowhere to be heard from. Trying to get him a hold, he's probably too distant for you to get a hold of him via your box and whatnot. So for now, you three are going to head to the mid-tiers. Ah, alright. It does take you a minute to actually locate it. If you have any way to speed that up, any kind of skill you think would help from anyone.
Anyone got navigation for urban or something?
Some to that degree.
Best
I've
I've got is inquiry and perception in that order.
The only types of navigation that exist are stellar, warp, and surface, and I have all three of them.
I'll accept asking, not less asking for directions, more subtly winking at them. Any kind of social skill you want to try to speed up the process, I will accept. You don't have to, I'm just wondering how fast you want to get there.
I have search.
Okay, rolling someone over and searching their pockets is not going to find you a map, so...
Nonsense. You just
It
have to roll
might.
the right person over.
You're going to be there a while. Well, for now, unless you decide to do some sort of skill to speed things up, you are going to head straight there. So, moving the clock. Okay, it is getting actually kind of late. If your characters keep staying up this late, you're going to hit fatigue. Just saying. You guys are going to get sleep deprived if you stay up forever.
Well, moment with safest place to bed down will probably be aboard the shuttle.
Well, you have to get there first. Alright, so finding the smuggler's den, let's call it, is mostly a recognizing what is a house and what is not a house. But you do find it. It's guarded, but as soon as you say the passphrase given to you by Mr. Ahab, he waves you in. You basically have to squeeze yourselves through a series of small tunnels with a lot of dead ends, and a man basically just waves you the correct direction each time, warning you not to step on the certain plates and such and such. And you arrive at a hangar, which is in decent condition. It's not fantastic or as well maintained, but it definitely is working. There are quite a few folk around, but they're all keeping them to themselves, and when they do talk, it's always in hushed tones, and there's a lot of crates and at least a couple short-range ships. One of which looks like it's taking off, so definitely room for your ship if you need to, land here. Question is permissions and all that. And pretty much as soon as you arrive, the fellow who guided you here waves you towards a portly, let's be generous and call him portly, fellow who's sitting in a, boy, it's sort of like a chair, but most chairs' legs don't move. This one does, so there you go. He seems unbusy at the moment, or, well, he has a clipboard, but he's not talking to anyone. What you do from here is your choice. You can go talk to the fellow, explore around, randomly grab someone and shake them down for money.
All right, I shake our Xenos down for money.
Okay, how much you got on you?
I have a data slate and some gunshot wounds.
I mean, he is a Xeno. That's already worth a lot of money, so.
Already given away some of my gunshot wounds.
Yeah, he has.
I look to my companions to make sure that they're paying attention and approach this portly gentleman on the ambulatory chair.
He lowers his clipboard. A deceive check, please. Assuming you want to look human. God damn, you're good at this.
Today.
You're good at rolling D100s.
Holy shit, on a corn cob. He actually beat you by 1.
Beat
rolled
me
a
by
15.
what? My deceive is 85.
Yeah, and you succeeded by, I'm just saying, I'm surprised. The thing is, you have more degrees of success than him, so you have succeeded by a lot. I'm just
Okay.
saying, I'm surprised this guy would actually even, yeah. In this case, when both people have succeeded, it goes by degrees of success, and you have the fuck ton.
Okay.
So, he looks at you, seems to lift his brow for like half a second, then seems to shake it off and goes, "How can I help you?"
We have need of this hangar's services for a shuttle of ours.
If you're here, you don't gotta be subtle, fella. He sits up a touch. He is very portly, but not so much he probably couldn't walk. This chair is likely just for simplicity, because he does have a lot of paperwork he needs to seem to handle. Most of it's on his clipboard and a couple data slides, but he's got a lot of it. He just kind of scratches at his jowls, adjusts his not fine clothes, but better than you would usually find on this level, and just kind of looks at you like almost like he's expecting a list.
I withdraw my portion of skin that has things written on it.
What
I'm
in
sorry that the
hell's-
client gave it to me in this shape.
Oh no, I know who this is from. Does he have permission? No, there's no way Uncle let him have this. Oh, for fuck's sake.
It's supposed to be on the down low.
Of course
Below
it is. You're
Uncle's
here, aren't you?
notice.
But I can't keep this hidden from Uncle. What makes you think I can hide this from Uncle? This is no. I mean, I could, but
Well, surely you have friends in low places?
oh yeah, but so does Uncle. Need to flay me alive for this, or dead. I don't know. Has he figured that out yet? Listen, I can get it, but number one, none of it's cheap. 2, if you want to keep it on the down low, well, the price just skyrocketed.
It would help everyone's survival to do such.
All right, let's talk price. At which point I would like a barter check, mister. I'm gonna fucking break this game now. Break it over my knee. Wah.
Uh-huh.
Go on, roll your goddamn barter. Make him ask for 3 peanuts.
That's
Ah,
versus
no.
85.
Yeah, versus 3 peanuts it is. Oh, Jesus Christ. It's like all the degrees of success.
To be fair, that 7 and
7
that
fucking
0
degrees.
could have been the other way around.
7 fucking degrees of success. My God. Even with the difficulty, actually the difficulty does adjust it a little, but even then it's like 5 degrees of success, for fuck's sake. Alright, okay. Let me just check over what he asked for. You expertly haggle this man down to the point where he looks exhausted just talking to you. And listless at that, just like he's basically begging someone to save him from this fucking loan shark that's appeared out of nowhere. And at the end of it, he agrees to a sum of what is essentially 2 profit factor to both keep it on the down low and to get the supplies you need.
Okay.
He is
And
willing.
FYI, I am planning to get a lot more than just a little bit of healing out of the good doctor for all this.
I know. He said, "Listen, this is way cheaper than it normally would be." Way. And 2, you have to spend money to make money, and we're talking large sums of money to keep this sort of thing hidden and these kind of goods moved. However, he is pointing out that if you gather certain bits he can point at, like he can list a couple you yourself could go theoretically gather from the jungle, he could reduce it theoretically. But you have
I've
to get
walked
a
through miles
lot.
of rain to get here.
Oh, hey!
And lo, he has come among his people. We'll have to
You've
ask
been
him to
getting
clean
high
that
this
up.
whole time, by the way.
I've been
Like,
what?
really high.
What?
Well, last we left off your character, you were trying to talk to some nobles or at least get some information out of them. I rolled some stuff. Yeah, you're busy getting high.
I thought I'd
As
already
you
gotten
do.
the information.
You kind of did, not much. You were going to press for more. You got the information out of the text, but you hadn't got anything from the nobles. You're trying to figure out the nobles had like a spare doctor, essentially.
Oh,
Which they
right.
do.
I was doing the mingling to find a servitor and stuff.
Yes. So you're in the upper level, high, while they're in the mid level in the smuggler's den, trying to arrange transportation and to pay for a certain doc, who fixed up Skith a bit. Returning to that, right, I've already listed out that whole business. So, like I said, 2 profit factor to just be both secretive and get all the supplies straight up, or you can do essentially go hunting for a lot of the supplies, which will reduce it down to at least 1 profit factor, possibly no expense at all, depending on what you bring back.
I go consort with my fellows.
Okay, you huddle.
Good news is, I've bartered him down to a pittance, and I certainly plan on extracting a great deal of satisfaction from the good doctor for having satisfied his unsavory shopping list. But we could get the price down a little if we're willing to do some apparently big game hunting in the jungles here. If we can land the shuttle, then I can get hold of my rifle, and I'm not directly out of favor with this idea.
Riveting conversation.
My rivets.
Ha!
Well, let's go kill some animals.
If you want, as I said, the other option is just pay the fucker.
Compared to what we actually have available, how much is it really going to affect us?
At a 40 profit factor, you can go down by 2. There are ways to raise it, obviously. I'm just saying you're spending money
Actually,
right now.
didn't we raise it by 1?
I
Yeah,
think
we
you
did.
did. Yeah,
We should be at 41.
Sorry, I'll go over fix that.
Anyway,
Thought I already did.
Things aren't sticking, damn it.
There. Sorry, you're at 41. Taking 2 away would reduce you down to 39.
which does not really change much unless we start looking for big supplies, but
Mm-hmm. It would be a very minor change. I mean, relative to how much wealth is being thrown around, no, but relative to how much wealth you actually have, yes, it is a minor change.
I say we go kill things.
That
think we-
does mean combat, by the way.
Yeah,
think-
that's the thing I'm concerned about a little
We'll
bit here.
sit in my ship and blast the animals with my ship guns.
There will be nothing left to harvest.
Works for me.
You've just spent the day shooting fish in a barrel and accomplished nothing.
Well, at least I'd have some less wounds from resting for a day.
This is true. Though, again, yeah, where are you going to rest is also a wonderful question.
Well, we do need to get the shuttle down here.
So you do.
yes. Let's summon the shuttle. And is there any chance the comm system here would be able to reach the captain even if he's out of our microbead range?
It's very likely they have a much more powerful Vox here, yes. Whether or not they're going to just let you use it, another entire can of worms.
I'm wondering if you've forgotten to whom you are speaking. Good sir, could we make use of
I've
your
not
Vox?
forgotten. I'm just, I'm hoping you've just it discourages you enough to not try. Damn
Good
it.
sir, we need use of your Vox to call down our shuttle and make contact with our captain.
You already skinned me alive for all those supplies. I ain't letting you use that shit for free, and especially you can't just wave your ship in here. You know,
Well,
license.
we certainly cannot carry out any business without being able to land our ship here.
And I can't let business be continued without having a license for the ship. Well, one of our licenses anyway. Permissions and all that, Uncle. What?
Ah, and what facilitation are you looking for?
I don't know, just a bit. And at that point, just roll your sodding barter check, you son of a bitch.
Well, actually, it was just going to be a charm in order to get use of his communication gear.
I'll let charm for the communication gear, but landing the ship, you need a barter.
Oh,
They actually won't let you just land whatever ship you want unless you have stuff to sell, you know?
Oh, you're nice to me? Fine, you can land your ship.
Well, we'd have to land it to pay him, right?
That's my
No.
argument.
Well, no, we cannot pay him for goods unless we actually bring the goods to him.
Oh, if you explain that, then yes, he'll hate you intensely, but he'll have to just allow it at that point. He didn't know you were the traders of that ship. Your captain's not with you.
Yeah.
Like I said, looking
No,
at you, they don't
yeah.
assume you're from the sodding ship. Yes, after a bit of explaining, he will let you land your ship as needed, i.e. the transport, not the actual ship.
Yep, shuttle.
But if you want to use his Vox, yeah, charm check, please.
Totally want to land the nihilist on his head.
you
Nothing will
can.
go wrong with that.
I mean, you can. No one's gonna live, but yeah. Do what you want.
Here it comes. That's versus 75.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I think you passed.
Yeah, even with my retarded high difficulty I set to this, because he's pissed off at you. Yeah, he looks at you like he'd rather do anything but passes you his Vox system, which is basically a complicated looking phone. Apparently,
I-
the receiver is kind of built into his chair. Explains part of why he's in it. And you're just holding the part you talk into, essentially.
I will Given that I have to be this close to him, I will be sure not to disclose anything that I shouldn't, and I shall try to dial it in for the captain's microbeat frequency.
Okay, Sig, you have successfully managed to get yourself really, 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 really high. Because
Lovely.
while you were talking to a couple of the nobles, you, and I did roll this for you, failed to notice the fact that the nobles like to spend a lot of time in clouded rooms, let's call it. Yeah. And you got really high partway through a talk. So you're currently kind of half kneeling, wondering why the ground is melting and made of pudding, and whether or not it tastes good when your voices in the head start up again. This is the third time the voices in the head have tried to speak to you. This time, though, they sound like Xeno scum.
What's the captain's favorite type of pudding? Answers in the comments, please.
Great.
It's probably chocolate.
Well, what you think is chocolate?
More
What you
Marco
hope
Marco
is chocolate.
references. Woo, woo.
I'm just gonna say Xenotech.
Barb's chocolate.
Xenotech would be his favorite flavor of pudding, yes. So, do you answer the voices in your head, which sound suspiciously like heretics and Xenos at the same time?
Did the other voices sound like heretics and Xenos?
Well, one of them sounded a bit like a rabbit, and the other one kind of sounded a bit like that fellow you mind melded with.
Okay, I'm not answering the mind meld guy. But heretics and Xenos is more interesting than a rabbit.
Alright then. Skeeth, you get a kind of half-slurred, I don't talk to Xeno.
I could speak.
Go ahead and speak. Remember, if I had to guess, it's the most like opium, I suppose. It's not really opium, but it's a lot
That's
like.
just kind of like lazy brain, isn't it?
I believe so.
Was out of my head.
But good captain, in your head is important things like trade authorizations.
It's a lot of wires, and you're the blue guy, aren't you?
I'm dressed in red at the moment, but it certainly does. It certainly describes my attire.
Why are you in my head again?
Because you've allowed me there before.
That doesn't sound like me.
Let me
Oh,
talk
it
to him.
certainly doesn't. Sure. Pass it to Carnamord.
Hey, Captain, it's your navigator. We sort of need you to come down here for trade authorization.
Is that some kind of food?
Yes, it's very delicious. We need you to come down here so we can feed you.
I could use some food that isn't corpse starch.
We could all use some food that's not corpse starch. I'm sending you our coordinates now. Come on down.
How do I walk on pudding?
The same way you walk on floors, just more carefully. Guy's apparently walking on pudding, everybody.
Perhaps one of us should meet him at the elevator.
The portly fellow looks at you guys like, what the god's name is going on?
Nothing we are normally used to, I assure you. It sounds like our captain has gotten himself into something.
I vote Madam Von roughs me up to go get him.
Leave you two alone again.
We're in good company here, I gesture to the hangar.
The portly guy pipes up. I won't lie, having a sister kind of hanging around, or at least someone dressed like a sister, is discouraging open conversation about topics of import. So, if you skedaddled, that'd be just peachy.
Shooting him a glare.
Heresy!
Do not tell me what you talk about. I'll be back.
The guy giggles.
So, that battle sister's pretty hot. Let's not tell her I said that.
You sure she's a battle sister? Don't they normally just if they? I thought if one found us, they should walk in guns first. She
Yeah,
just
well,
stole
she's
the suit.
screwed, so. No, we just all got sort of screwed over.
Oh, I bet there's a story behind that.
Yes, there is one.
Gonna share?
My ship, well, for me, my ship crashed, and you know what a navigator's supposed to do when their ship crashes.
Die usually.
Yeah, well, this guy over here picked me up and brought me with him because he didn't know any better, so now I can't go home.
Huh, that's a rough one. Right, so we'll just jump to Sig real quick. How do you plan to walk on the pudding?
Can my mecha arm reach the ground?
Yeah, you could. Yeah. Not well, but it can.
It's going to involve a lot of prodding the pudding until I find a somewhat steady spot and then step there.
Ah, so you're kind of using it like a cane, judging
Yes.
the way to go.
A little bit.
It does take you a while, and thankfully, whatever it is that's going on in your brain right now is fading as you go. I do need a endurance, constitution. I forget what it is.
Toughness.
Toughness check.
Okay, just have to open my thing. Where's my thing? Toughness. I have 45 toughness. Nope. Hello?
Yeah, I'm just looking at how bad you fucked up and trying to figure out what happens when someone overdoses on opium.
You go to knuckle walk on your dendrite arm and accidentally put it down through the belly of someone laying on the floor.
It's not that bad, thankfully. Okay, so you have 3 degrees of failure there. And yeah. You get lost, is a good way to put it. You get pretty lost. Thankfully, Des is on her way to help the situation. Des, you need to find Sig. Please roll me something to do that with.
Yeah, the closest thing I got is not going to work, so I got nothing for actually navigating easily.
Raw int, I guess.
Oh, good, my strongest roll.
And then a raw perception, I suppose. Well, you
that was
almost made it.
close. Hey!
Look at that. You're not able to think your way out of it, though it's a bare thing, but you are able to spy him. Essentially, you realized that it's probably gonna be obvious where he is based on the sounds, thanks to his big claw thumping the ground randomly and him declaring at various intervals, "That's not safe." Thankfully, you do find each other. Sig is half kneeled over, using his mecha claw to like whack the ground occasionally for no apparent reason.
What are you doing?
You're shiny.
Will a slap suffice?
I don't think a slap would knock it out of him, honestly.
No, probably not.
I mean, you can still do it for the lulz to give it a good go, but I don't think it's going to work.
Don't suppose
Now,
you've got any
mouth to
spare
mouth might
stims
actually
in your...
work.
Don't suppose you have any spare stims in your armor?
That also would technically do it.
Yeah, I don't.
Tough beetles.
Beetles?
I didn't bother getting any of the common stuff like I probably should have.
Yeah, there's a reason it's on the list. So anyways, you know, you can have as much as you want. And no one took anything, and I'm just like, okay, sucks to be you guys.
I'm just gonna pull on his arm and start dragging him. See if I can lead him.
Which one, mecha arm or an actual
Yes, mecha arm.
arm? All right. You're tugged by your mechanical arm, Sig.
Well, I kind of need that to reverse the pudding, so I'm going to follow her until she lets go of it.
You now have a guide to the pudding. All right. You two would make it without any fuss, I believe. Just let me check. Yeah, Tech Priest and his sister aren't going to draw any kind of attention, and even if they did, they're going to ignore the shit out of you. Right. So, all I need now is another toughness from Sig to see if he's shaking it off yet. So I hope he doesn't.
Yay!
Okay, you've shaken off your opium addiction. Well, not really. You've just shaken off the effects of inhaling way too much of some sort of unknowable drug. Just some nice, fresh, oil-slicked, not at all fresh in any way, shape, or form, gunk air from the mid-levels has cleansed your system of whatever it was you were inhaling before. The ground is no longer pudding, and for some reason, you're half knelt over, and Des is half dragging you everywhere. So that's new.
Well, I'm going to stop her dragging me so I can at least stand up. I remember I was in the marketplace.
Are you coherent now so I can stop this embarrassing maneuvering?
Right, so once you get yourselves organized, you do march in back through the... Actually... Oh, I just realized you guys have a pickle. This might be really interesting now. Des, roll an int check.
Of course. Yeah, well, that's a major failure.
Yeah, you do not remember the passphrase that Carnivore used to get you guys through the Warrens to get to the smuggler's den. Neither of you were there to find the passcode.
Are we within microbead range?
At this point, yes, but you have a feeling you might not be able to communicate because I don't think they let microbeads out through that distance, but you could still try.
No reason not to try.
After a bit of tapping and like not even a minute of effort, it's fairly recognizable to the tech head, Sig, that if there's a smuggler's den that direction, they're going to have at least microbeads, you know, not be able to reach it.
Right.
At least not from the outside.
Some sort of jamming.
Some kind. I mean, you're not in there, so you don't know what, and neither of you were there for Ahab's little talk, so yeah, neither of you know the passcode, and the guy guarding the place looks at you like you're aliens. Well, not quite that badly, but, you know.
Well, I'm assuming the desk has filled me in that they're in there.
Yes.
I'm assuming saying I was just in here doesn't
Yeah,
work.
no, he's not buying that one.
Well, did their signal get into us?
No.
Okay.
You got nothing.
So what are we looking at in terms of this entrance?
Nothing, honestly. It looks a bit like a alleyway that's been sealed off. Like, it looks like at one point this went somewhere, but someone put scrap in front of it. Like, a lot of scrap and welded it there. And if you remember, you got in because in actuality, yes, it's welded there, but there is a hinge, so it kind of parts if you know how to pull on it. I'll let you roll an int check if you can to try and remember what part you pulled on.
Oh, it's mostly I'm going to tell our captain this. There's some sort of a hinge. This opens.
The guy on guard keeps looking at you.
Yeah, how on guard is he? Like, if we know the way in, is he going to stop us?
He's got a bolter.
Hmm.
And I don't mean a wee bolter for children's. No, this is something a space marine might carry. I mean,
Or
it's a
Death's.
sidearm, but yeah.
Well, come on, he does not get Death Watch Space Marine stuff.
No, I said as like a sidearm, he has a bolter.
Okay, because if he
Well,
has
a
that,
sidearm
I'm
for a
killing
Space
him
Marine.
and taking the bolter.
Well, he definitely has a bolter, but it's the kind of bolter a Space Marine uses as a sidearm. I.e., not all that big, but it's
So,
still pretty
bolt pistol?
impressive. Yeah, more or less. It looks a little sized down, but yeah.
Right, so do we try diplomacy or not?
Oh, please. Please try the whole storm the gates option. Please.
I just want to see if you can figure out how to open the damn thing.
He probably could.
Alright, I'll take a look at the thing if the guard's not going to shoot me immediately.
The guard says step away from that, please.
I'll look at him.
He looks at you.
My navigator is in there, and he was just smart enough to not tell us the passphrase to let us in.
Ain't that a pickle? You just have to wait till he comes out for you, then. Them's
Send
the
him
rules.
a message.
Oh, yeah, I can totally send him a... Yeah, no, I'm not leaving you two clowns here. Alone, unguarded.
Does that mean you were alone?
No, it means I don't have another buddy to send running. I just have someone watching. Who ain't close.
Does that mean they can hear us?
Presumably. I don't ask those kinds of dumb questions.
Then they should be able to relay the message.
Alright.
They...
Look, I'm assuming that the person in charge inside is waiting for some goods, in service or something else. I'm the one with the warrant of trade here. They don't get down here without my word.
Please roll me a social skill you'd like to try and use. Intimidate, charm, whatever you... What do you want to throw at this man?
A grenade?
You can throw feel free to throw a grenade at him.
The only trained social skill I have is command.
Try it.
Alright.
You didn't mention your warrant of trade, so depending on what he has.
Well done.
Holy shit. Alright. He immediately, blinks and goes, apologies, I did not, here, follow me. And he goes up to the door and opens it and leads your way.
Cool.
He probably realized on some level that, oh yeah, he's the guy with the really big ship that could just stand in space and nuke me. No. No, thank you.
Fire gun 1 and vaporize half the city, please.
Preferably the part he's standing in.
just make the edge hit right in front of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck with those people arming the guns.
Oh yeah, no, they'll just kill everyone. They're imbeciles. Alright, so you are brought to your allies at last. It has been a bit and you're all starting to feel a bit tired. It's late.
Speaking of, I have the air of authority talent. I hope that comes into play at some point.
That's
Does
kind of
mean
why I let you roll command.
You smell like command?
He just comes across as someone in charge, and that lets him use his command of skill in that kind of scenario.
It's either motivating or terrifying.
Depending on how he wants to come across, yes. And considering he doesn't really have intimidate, it's mostly motivating.
Eventually, at least.
We did call down the shuttle.
Yep, it wouldn't have arrived yet. He would arrive way before the shuttle did.
Yep.
Mostly because you have to explain where he's supposed to land, because it's not a place you're supposed to normally land, so he has to kind of... Yeah.
I suppose any sort of beacon would just be noticed by the official traffic control, so...
Right, so you have all reorganized yourselves into a group. If you have anything to say to each other, take the moment.
Don't stay in a closed room with the nobles on the upper levels.
Don't stay in a closed room with the doctors on the lower ones.
Desdemona's just going to spend her time glaring at Carmland.
So, essentially, don't stay in closed rooms.
That does seem like the healthier option.
Okay, so I assume you found a medic.
Oh yes,
Medic.
of sorts. He knows his way around around bipeds' bodies.
At this stage, Carnamort has a 1,000-yard stare.
Whatever he is, however bad he might be, it's probably better than trying to get the apothecary space marine that's on the upper level.
Well,
Skeith,
the one
you
we
near jump out of your skin at the mention of a space marine because your only contact with them as an entire species has been them shooting you in the face.
well, the doctor I've found is more interested in getting this list of I hold out the piece of skin with a shopping list tattooed on it. He's more interested in just getting this list fulfilled, but he does have an uncle who provides for him, and I get the impression that his uncle doesn't provide as well as he would like.
Do you think I would have seen things stranger than a piece of human skin with writing on it in, the Adeptus Mechanicus?
Dude, you have
Considering
entire sheafs of paper used to write. In fact, most paper and parchment is made of human skin. This one's just
Fair.
uglier and fresher than usual.
Yeah, I suppose I am using a floating skull as a helper.
Yeah, this, meh. Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
ugly and unusually fresh, and that's kind of disturbing, but other than that.
Just take it and read it. Yeah.
Desdemona, on the other hand, is quite interested in this apothecary. So, did you find out why the apothecary is on planet?
Nope.
She's asking in character, damn it.
I'm reminding him because it's been a while.
Yeah. Nothing set in stone, no credible information. I would assume that he's done something or other that means he can't be serving on the front lines or in response to anything. I don't know what would have someone assigned here. They don't seem to have much need for an apothecary, as opposed to just standard medical procedures. He almost made it.
Woo!
We hear a distant explosion.
Or
Actually,
not so
he
distant.
did make it because it's not a challenging check. It's an easy check, so he's made it.
Oh, yay!
Plus that.
Patches pulls in, and by pulls in, he crashes with grace.
Well, it seems like a better landing than our last one.
Definitely. Just, there's a shower of sparks, and he seems to have forgotten with the landing gear. Like, either forgot the landing gear exists or it's missing. Either way, it has arrived. It looks a little battle damaged, but hey, your ship's here.
An apothecary could be a great wealth of information.
And bullets.
Apothecary could also find out that we have a Xeno and kill every last one of us.
Whereas the doctor I think I've found may... I don't know. It didn't even occur to me to try recruiting him.
I'm more likely to trust the apothecary than a doctor that can already work on someone like him.
Regardless, I think finding him and at all speaking to him is going to be a bit more difficult of a task than we have time for right now.
Time being, I think we have been here well over 18 of 18 hours. We should
It
get
has
some
been a long time, and you have seen combat
we should get
twice in some
some
cases.
rest on the shuttle's quarters and get a nice early day of settling our debts and finding our needs on the morrow.
That would increase efficiency by quite a large percent.
Your carriage awaits.
I don't want to see the
did-
baby that comes with that carriage.
That's Patches.
Did I
Yeah.
Did we get a name of the portly gentleman with the ambulatory chair?
You haven't asked him, so no.
Let's name him Port.
Oh, you got my joke. Fun.
Eh,
I go back over to him.
Okay.
So, we are just going to gather ourselves, get a bit of rest. It has been a long day doing business, and in the morning we shall go get those local ingredients that we can source out, assuming, of course, that you are scaring up the rest of our shopping list.
Yeah. As was the deal. You need your end before I'll provide mine, though. You ain't gonna see a lick of any of your supplies until I've been given the payment. Whether that be in bits or bobs.
Nope,
Because-
failed to come up with something sufficiently witty in time.
Cat.
Because Keth is the one communicating to this person, Sake is just going to move for the shuttle.
It is definitely a little banged up. By a little, I mean someone took a couple las guns to it. Luckily, it's a big ship and doesn't usually care much.
I'm just gonna take a quick look over this.
Very well. It's almost entirely for show in terms of damage. Frankly, they need a lot more concentrated fire of las guns to really damage this thing. It's mostly just scorch marks, and frankly, the crash and the fancy crash landing thing that just happened, I guess, landing with style, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, that's probably doing more damage to it than these las guns did, frankly.
Is our shuttle's named Frank?
It should be, but it's not. I believe its name is Relistra, or something to that degree. I can't pronounce it. It's the Navigator's personal shuttle, so you ask him. Patches is waving you over if you want to talk.
Waving Sage over?
No, Karn.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going over.
He greets you. Ahoy!
Hey Patches, you managed to land it. Get your guys
I know,
buffing
I
this
can't
out.
believe it. Gear said I couldn't. I bet him a whole 5 Imperial coins.
Well, it's a slightly worse landing than my last one, so we're gonna need you guys buffing this out now.
Damn it. Well, I won the bet. Hey, Gears, if you buff it out for me, I'll... He crawls inside. Gelts, that's the term I was looking for. Throne gelts is their coinage. Or just thrones. Right then. So, yes, if you return to your ship, you now have the ability to.
Woohoo!
Well, Des not leaving anywhere without making sure her Xenos charge is first going. Because she's, last time I was out of her sight, she got shot up a bunch.
True.
Yes, just finishing the conversation with our trade agent here. Oh, and I'm afraid if you had dropped your name, I had not caught it.
Around here, you don't drop things. You gift them, or you trade for them. But I get what you're saying. Call me Sarl. Gonna give me yours, or I gotta get something involved.
Call me Frederick.
Frederick it is. Now get out of here already. Taking up a spot.
Yeah, we don't lacrosse him. We might get Sarly.
You can just you can jump on my G and you catch my jokes fast.
We shall be back promptly ish.
Get on. Waves a chubby hand at you.
Okay, we're gonna have to buff this out when we get back to the ship, everybody. Let's get going. So I climb into my ship, sit in the pilot seat, and start powering things up.
All right, everyone gets in, I presume.
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
I'm gonna look over Carnimore's shoulder to see if there's anything I can improve about the ship.
Everything and nothing. I mean, it's a functional ship. It's in good condition. And at the same time, it's also an Imperium ship and runs on hope and misunderstandings. So everything and nothing. I mean, you could upgrade the engine, but you need to go get a new engine for that. You could upgrade the guns, but you need to get a new gun. Like, there's a lot you could
I just meant
do.
something like super tiny, like someone broke the back of this thing.
Can we upgrade the pilot?
If he lets me tinker with his brain, maybe.
There's a stain on the console.
Yeah.
Buff that out.
Tech head,
Regardless.
not janitor.
Need a pilot skill check from whoever's flying the garbage can.
That would be me this time.
Go on. It's
I've
not
managed to bring
hard,
one.
I just need it.
I actually have a decent piloting now.
Oh yeah.
Versus 42. Yay.
Yeah, you'd pull it off
Barely.
even if it wasn't. Well, even if it wasn't easy to do, he'd have pulled it off. So you take off with minimal difficulty and one more pilot check just to escape the atmosphere. Oh, yeah, fuck this planet. Okay. You arrive with style. You land like you were born to land upon your own upon the Nihilist. It's gentle and complete. No new scratches to have to buff out or anything.
Okay, good. Now, crew, get on the scratches you made.
Yes, sir. And off they go.
And get the stain out of the panel.
You put that stain there, sir. You said it had character.
Yeah, well, I changed my mind.
Damn it. Fine.
And the character in question was the hieroglyph for shit. Buff it out.
All right, you're back aboard the Nihilist. With all of its compartments and whatnot.
I filled the captain in on what Garnamort and I got up to after we parted company.
That's a lot of
So
stuff.
You got shot more.
Yep.
More or
And
less.
Then I ran away from what I presume was a giant rat. And then
Don't
I hid
presume anything.
Then I hid in several hobo dens while waiting for gangs to finish their wars. And then we talked to the nice Captain Ahab, who was good enough to let us in on multiple ports of ill repute about the city, which is where you found us. And we managed to get some of the worst of my injuries patched up by a doctor who, well, he might actually be considered a piece of furniture in his place of business by this point, but he's currently indebted to someone he calls Uncle. But his skill is commendable, and well, if we don't have any luck with this apocalypse fellow, then perhaps we could wean him away from his current, how do you say, sugar daddy.
Apocalypse.
Furniture modifications.
He is possessed of some let's call them biological dendrites.
Hmm. See a gene tour?
I would tell you what that is, but a Tau wouldn't know what that is, so good luck on that one.
Yes, I shall look at him blinking.
Never mind.
Are you sure these are actually upgrades and not inherent?
Well, from the chin up, he was human.
Looks can be deceiving.
I swoop my cloak around myself dramatically and say, yes.
It's not entirely uncommon for people in the medical profession to, not if not augment themselves, then at least change themselves.
Who goes stir crazy?
Occasionally. And of course, it's not exactly uncommon outside of the medical profession either. And he waves his mechadendrite.
This one was not only perfectly ignorant of any of any consequence that looking upon me might have for him, but also wanted to trade his services for many of mine organs.
Do you have any redundancies?
I have exactly as many as I did when I walked in there, assuming Carnivore stood proper guard over my comatose form.
1,000-yard stare from Carnivore.
Not entirely the question I was asking.
Yeah, that's pretty horrifying. You wouldn't know.
I am untrained in the arts of medicine, even among my own kind.
Well, I assume you know you had 2 spleens.
I have a heart, and I have at least 2 Rakpan, and I'm afraid we break down for analogs at that point.
You would know this, though. Tau, when they're injured, much like humans, can bounce back, but usually die, so unless they're treated. So you don't think you have any more redundancies than the average human. I mean, you might have an equivalent to an appendix, and that's redundant, but not likely.
Extraneous more than redundant.
Point.
This
Well,
third
what-
eyelid allows me to see underwater.
What was the most innocuous thing you wanted in exchange for his services?
I looked at this list. Well, apparently these things here that I was...
Not on his list, from you.
Oh, the most mundane thing that he was asking me for?
Of your body.
That would be one of my hands.
I could replace that.
Let's call that Plan C.
We have a plan B already.
We do. We can either pay in-universe equivalent to 2 profit factor,
Which would be a shit ton of thrones.
to get these items here that are starred on the Good Doctor's shopping list. This list, he said that this is payment for services, but I got the impression that he did not want. He just wanted a few things on here to pay for his use as a healer. If we could bring him the full list, he might well be in our debt. So I have bartered with the gentleman, Sarl, on the surface. He is getting most of this list, and if we can just procure these last few things, or get him the money equivalent, then we can get the entire list.
I see. What are the things he cannot procure?
Oh, he can procure them. It's just
Without our input.
These things here on the list, I put stars beside them, and apparently we can scavenge them from wildlife in the jungle outside the city below.
Look at it. Turn to Des. Can sisters hunt?
I know
Animals.
nothing of the wildlife of this world.
They can hunt heresy!
I presume it dies from a bolter shot to the brain just as well as anything else.
Yes, but if we need to retrieve that brain...
Are there brains on the list?
Maybe. It's written entirely in medical lingo. Like the only thing you really recognize is it does mention a liver of something. That thing being a glarbity-glooch, so you know.
Why must
So-
we pay him at all?
To keep him. So, yeah, that's funny. No, keep going. Sorry, I just found that really funny.
He is a heretic, quite obviously. do not feel like giving one more resources.
I don't know.
Aren't we all?
That does not mean we should do more evil than we already have.
I don't plan on committing any evil.
Barring anything else, we don't know exactly where to get most of these items that I assume he is procuring. And I would imagine you want your own injuries looked at.
Not by the likes of him.
The apothecary, then.
Yes, that would be quite different.
I will point out that the apothecary would be extremely skilled, have really good resources, and be, quite honestly, very easily the best doctor, finger quotes, on the planet. The thing is, he is also going to be a space marine and all the fun stuff that brings.
Well, for a sister, that's like awesome.
Yeah, for sister, yeah, 2 thumbs up.
You're aware that if he were to discover our Xeno friend, he would likely kill everyone on board the ship.
He would, too.
Then he will not discover him.
I actually have an idea about that. You see, this doctor I found, he may be a little better at replacing than at fixing. He did wonders for my face. I'm sure he can do further wonders.
What exactly are you suggesting?
Her face needs it. Woo!
Rude.
Ha!
There is no Xeno for the apothecary to recognize if he cannot recognize the Xeno.
I see. That would solve several problems. We must make sure that he does not become overly harmed in the process.
That is my intention as well.
An odd thing to volunteer yourself for.
Could always just wear a nice helmet when you're meeting him. Or just not be there when you're meeting him.
Call that plan A. I want to be prepared for a plan B. You know, the day he walks into my quarters unannounced. The day my helmet is shot off of my armor. And also, I have these. I've been looking at some of the designs that some of your crew used down in the engine compartment, and I think it could be adapted. And he rattles off into the idle sketchings he's been doing. And I think I could purchase all of this down on the surface next time we're down there. It shouldn't cost more than a pittance. I'm sure we can get it onto the shuttle.
He starts
He goes
talking merchant at
completely
you.
into his commerce.
Sure, but he is still talking engines at first.
Well, he quickly goes into armor and pricings and usual commonalities and trade of this spice for that spice in order to get this much profit, and it's just your eyes glaze over rather rapidly.
Des will make a mental note to find a list of things she needs and shove it at him later.
At some point, he'll interrupt him. Money is not the problem. The problem is the premium of space on board the ship.
Oh?
His cargo bay is not infinite.
Not even that. Like, for space of actual, what's it called? The words for, not like compartments,
Components?
Yes, components, thank you. We're basically full.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're at 41 out of 42 space used.
So we just need a new ship.
Ha!
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah.
What he's
What?
saying
We
is,
have two
if you're
ships
going to
then.
bring anything that actually takes up space, it better not take up much.
I mean, if it's like a replacement of the engine or just being tacked onto the engine, that'll probably take up either the same space or like similar, like one more.
Oh, no. I was talking about the armor that is worn by people who work in the engine compartment.
Ah, yes. Okay, that's not a problem.
Okay. I was wondering where you were going with that.
Misunderstandings. Okay.
No worry. I was talking it over with Skullhat after last session. I guess you left immediately.
Yes. Have to...
Essentially, he's not wearing like 90% of the gear he should be.
Hmm.
Well, not should be, but can. Remember, he has one thing he's
Can
really good
equals
at.
should.
Yeah, and I can get some quite good customized armor at a cost of 0 profit factor if I just get some face time down there.
Mm.
We had
He's,
things to do with the smugglers though first.
Yeah, so the question comes down to at this stage. Do you guys want to prioritize getting yourselves equipment first and just do that for a day or two, depending on how long, like what you guys want and yada yada? Do you want to
Well-
immediately go out into the jungles? Do you want to spend time learning about the jungles first? What?
Well, that's the thing. We can't.
Do you want to go
get
talk
these...
to the apothecary?
Well, here's the thing. We can't get those things from the jungle if we don't know what we're getting them from. So we need
True.
information.
Yeah, we need information. We need some time to heal up,
Yes, we
which
could probably.
is going to be minimum a week with if Desdemona doesn't get some actual help.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And of course, Des is gonna go fucking stir crazy if we don't go see this apothecary. So I mean, at least take
It's a space marine.
Yes,
She must meet one.
at least taking a sister of battle to the apothecary is a valid reason. Hey, look, the other super holy person warrior is hurt. Please help them.
Fair enough. My only question at that stage is going to be who goes where and when. Are we going to have the group separate into Des talking to the apothecary alone? Is someone going to go with her? And while she's doing that, what is everyone else doing?
Well, it's pretty clear that Sketh cannot go with Des.
Duh.
Yeah.
I mean, he could. And I'd
Then
love
again,
if he did.
The problem is it's risky to have him right now going around on planet alone, or at least pretty much without Desdemona around at minimum.
More or less, yeah. Mostly because...
Well, we've tried the Des Sig combo with Sketh and Carnimord. We could, switch it to Sketh and Sig and, Carnimord and Des.
I mean, keep in mind, Sig is a tech priest. While he doesn't have the same sway as a battle sister, clearly, he is still a more or less pure human in a position of semi-power.
Yes, and
the
with
only
warrant of trade.
reason we wouldn't want that split is if you want to try to do anything with the apothecary and our ship, because you're the captain. If we're going to recruit anyone, you have to be there.
Oh,
Well,
please
his-
recruit the apothecary, because that
I
would be
would
just such
love
fun.
it. It would be hilarious.
The captain's navigator should have plenty of sway, and I believe he has plenty of social skills.
Oh yeah, the navigator does have sway on who goes aboard the ship. The captain has final say, technically, but it's not uncommon for the
Okay,
navigator
so
to go, hey, I need a guy to
He'd
do
make a
this
decent
thing.
representative then.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I mean, it's not like you
So,
can fly the
it
Saudi ship
seems like
without
it
him.
work.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, that
the
would work.
The captain has no ship if the ship is not being flown.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that is one of the better splits we can do, probably.
So we're going to have Sigs and Skith crawl around the city getting equipment, essentially, and those two are best at it. One
And
of them knowing
information.
good. Yeah, actually, this works really well because Skith is good at information gathering and getting materials. Sig has an important, like, hey, I've got the warrant of trade and I'm a prick priest. Plus, on top of that, he actually knows good gear from bad gear. You're not going to get swindled through just not knowing tech.
Why are you selling me armor that has a grenade taped to the inside?
Yeah, exactly.
It's so you can use the grenade's holy power.
Yes. It is blessed by the Amasaiah.
We're not hunting rabbits.
Well, so
I'm
it
counting
seems
to 5.
we have a group. So the plan is going to be Des and Carnimord head to see about this whole apothecary thing, and at the very least get Des, some level of healing just to speed things along. If not, you'll at least know what the apothecary is about. While in the meantime, Mr. Sketh and Sig are going to go both gain information about the jungle and get some materials they both will need and want. So in that case, as it is now more or less 6, if Sketh would be so kind as to make a forum, just, I don't know, call it the shopping list or something, Because there's a lot you can get, and normally the limits are, well, it's hard to get, right? It's a hard roll. Not for him. It's basically an auto pass. So, you can go nuts.
Though you know we're gonna fail one of them.
Unlikely. Some of them are literally auto passed where he cannot fail, unless you're getting
Yeah, but
something
the good
really
stuff
complicated.
is- The good stuff he can possibly fail. Like
yeah,
if he
and there's
rolls
a definite
not
list
a
of
puzzle.
combat items I'd like to have.
Okay, so the item he's getting is a semi-rare piece of equipment that's basically power armor that's immune to lasers. And
Yeah,
he's
let
upgrading
me-
it with several specialized, specific equipment tricks.
Augmetic engine plate. It does
Yeah.
confer a -10 penalty to agility on its wearer, but +30 to resist adverse conditions. It covers all points, head, arms, body, legs. It has AP 10 versus energy and is immune to flame, AP 9 versus explosive and rendering, and AP 7 versus impact. It has a hidden, like a concealed holster that will conceal a pistol, -30 to search attempts. And yep, total acquisition modifier +10. If this is better than what you are wearing, it is basically the void sealed environmental protection suits that people working in engines use, modified to be combat worthy, and then modified to also conceal a gun. And I can auto pass the check to get it.
And to understand how hard that is, he basically just has a pair. That's power armor. He basically just said, I'm gonna have some power armor now. Just
Yep,
bam.
it's power armor with and I would even want that if it didn't murder my agility bonus.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's how it's like the best set of armor in the game to anyone who's not heavy agility focused. It is astounding, and he just get that.
It would technically decrease movement by 1 for anyone who wears it, but yeah.
And keep in mind, it's also a sealed container, so if you wanted to go, say, explore Fume with these things on, you could.
Oh yeah,
That would get us some money, wouldn't it?
8 hours of onboard life support.
Yeah, this stuff is amazing.
So yeah,
He can
get
just
some of those.
get you that.
Get some of
Alright.
those, go to
I can
Fume,
get a-
get out
I
of the
can get a-
shuttle, just every
I can
8
get a
hours, go back.
I can get a squad worth at acquisition +0, or a company, like 100 of them, for acquisition -10. But then we're talking a 75% chance.
Mm-hmm.
So the
So,
plus
yeah,
10 is if
75
you want only 1.
Yes.
Auto pass.
Right. So you,
wants a
you have
couple,
a
he has
10%
to actually
chance of
roll.
failure if you're trying to get like a party's worth.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Which does mean he'll still get the one. There might just be the one,
But we only have 1 of those.
Yeah, what the
Yeah.
hell are you talking about?
I mean, I don't need one, but the rest of you could make use of that stuff.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
I don't think we're ever going to have people on the ship helping with combat too much.
Unlikely.
Because considering that if you hand them a laser pistol, they're more likely to like shoot themselves in the foot with it.
Yeah, unlikely. Though,
Can say, yeah.
can't you also like eventually get like some commander stuff where you can boost their stats and?
Oh yes, they can gain
Oh, yeah.
experience normally through just, living, living on the ship long enough. They do increase in experience, and you can actually get better crew if you spend time on a planet like doing that.
Yeah, so we could technically, of course, that'd be a thing to get later down anyway for the armor form, but we could get like a security crew or something.
You
We
could.
could.
You could have what do you call this? An anti-boarding party, a
Yeah,
security force.
Exactly the
Red
reason I was
shirts.
thinking of having something around for that because
You
us
totally could. It just
we're not going to be enough if we get boarded. Not
profit
ever
factor,
enough.
barter ability, the planet itself, stuffing comes to a line. Feel free to try it. But the point I'm asking is if Sketh would make a little forum and you guys take this opportunity to go through the list of like shiny stuff you want, and based on what Sketh puts up, he should put up like his upper limit of auto pass.
Yep.
Like how rare something is. And if it's underneath that, if he can auto pass it, you can just have it. Unless it's something like you think would be unusually rare for the planet. Like, it's unlikely they have a Predator tank lying around. I mean, they might, but they're not going to give it to you.
Can we just have the Lehman Russ then?
They got like 80 of those. Yeah, sure.
Awesome.
You think I'm kidding?
I remember there
Seriously,
was-
like a-
No, I want them to drive closer so I can hit them with my sword.
Well, I guess you're Lehman Russ then. Go on.
I
So,
so
yeah,
there's
if you
something I
want-
wanted to bring up.
This
I
is
forget
the
what it
moment
was.
where if you want power fists, you want chain swords, you want jetpacks, you want power armor, it's
we get
all
an-
on the table.
Can I get an Imperial Knight?
Maybe.
Totally got one of those, right?
Maybe. You have to fight the guy who currently owns it, though.
Yeah, plus you gotta like mod yourself to be actually put and connected with it.
Yeah, that's gonna suck.
Yeah.
So yes, basically we're gonna have a little forum called the shopping list, and take time to look at the sort of things you want. And with his skill, even stuff like potential ship upgrades for your little transport, or even the main ship itself, aren't necessarily off the table. It's just, do you think they'll have it? And if you want something for your ship, like the Nihilist, just tell me what you want. I'll do some rolls and determine whether or not they even have it on planet.
Right.
If not, otherwise you could theoretically get it. So
I could get another mechadendrite.
you could a dozen if you wanted. I mean, with his skill level, you'd seriously robot the fuck out of yourself.
Well, they are technically very rares.
That does not stop this guy. I'm pretty sure Sketh could dig out like treasure out of a junk pile.
The only thing we're gonna have to worry about is with uniques.
Pretty much, yeah. Unique is like the only.
What's the name of this armor? That's really good stuff.
Oh, he's gonna.
I will post it in the forum so you can see.
Yeah, it's got this
just
whole
do you remember
list.
its availability?
Its availability is. Let me pull it back up. Its base availability is. It is from Hostile Acquisitions, page 61.
I had this funny feeling the whole group's gonna look like fucking space marines. Miniature space marines.
There we go. Base availability is merely rare.
Oh, only rare, huh?
There's a reason you find him on ships all the time. He's just upgrading it to combat capacity. That's why it's beyond that, but even then he can auto-pass the damn thing. So what's that tell you?
There's a bunch of modifications in that chapter that you can apply to most any armor.
So, if you want to spend some time now and just go over with me the sort of things you guys are going to want to buy, I have time to do so. If not, we're at 6, so this is where we'll stop.
I could get a utility mechadendrite.
Get a utility belt. Be Batman.
But I don't think
I
it'd
will
actually be
point
that
out
much of a
to
bonus.
our tech priest, you can have as many mecha what's-a-wups as you want. Just try and keep track of where they're located on your body, please.
Sure. I might not actually get it, though, because the main bonus it gives is it can apply Sacred Unguents, which are, okay, cool. And it works as a combi tool, but I already have a combi tool, and they don't stack.
Yeah, but you could lose a combi tool. You can't lose a...
This is true. Well, technically I can, but...
But let's hope you don't.
I can shoot it off again.
Let's not do that.
So yeah, you have all the books available to you to pick anything you want. So I'm going to sit here if you want to go over gear with me.
I'm gonna glance at...
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out which books would have gear that I want to
I'm
look at.
looking at Hostile Acquisitions first.
Hostile Acquisitions has a lot of the offensive stuff.
Also, what XP can we mark today?
Let's see.
Yeah, how much do I get for shooting an innocent, defenseless woman?
-5.
Shoot the heretic!
Aw.
Okay.
Hey, I did that for the right reason. She was already
Doomed.
tried and doomed. I wasn't going to let her father have to kill him.
Yeah.
Kill her.
That
Yeah.
makes you an unusually nice person in this universe, especially for a Sister of Battle. Go you. Alright, for everyone, you all gain 600 XP flat.
Yay!
Mostly for some very well put together rolls and not fucking up. Like,
Yay!
nothing at all went wrong. Everything went smooth.
I don't
Smoother than
believe
expected.
You're fucking lying.
I am serious. Things could have gone bad at least 3 points involving either a fight or discovery, and each time you pulled it off. Was Sketh in the bag, getting into trouble for getting the password because, 2 of you didn't know it, managing to pull Mr. High as fuck down from the Noble District. Yeah, you guys did pretty good.
Pudding!
You managed to not screw yourselves, and I gave you a bonus 100 for that, so 600 for this session.
Alrighty. Thank you.
And then I wandered around and got nothing done.
Well, I could get some interchromatic implants.
Go nuts.
Yeah, I need to look at upgrades, because when it comes to armor and
primarily here are
weapons,
the
I'm
things
mostly
you're going to
good.
want. If you already have the best armor you can, which I'm assuming everyone who doesn't have good armor is just going to get what, Skith is getting.
Perfectly.
If the armor is done, the things you want to look into are going to be weapons, followed by implants and upgrades. Because, to be completely frank, organic stuff is inherently inferior to inorganic stuff. That is to say, a mecha arm will always be better than a not one. Now, that doesn't mean cutting off your current arm. I'm just saying. But there's also biological upgrades, like grown muscles and so on.
Yeah, she's not going to try to replacing any limbs until someone makes her lose a limb.
There are other kinds of
I can do that.
Core rulebook will tell you a lot of those implants. Hostile Inquisition has a few. I think the Navis Primer might have some. Just take your
Navis
time.
Primer should have some, yeah.
Yeah, take your time. Don't worry about it.
Navis
or worry
Primer
about it.
is mostly Psyker stuff, though.
Yeah, but that might be anti-psyker stuff, implants.
True.
I didn't completely check every single thing. I have a long list. But yeah, I'll be here, so feel free to just browse and talk to me if you need something. Otherwise, that's it for this session. I hope everyone had fun.
Explosions.
And
Surprisingly
drugs.
few of those. Lots of drugs.
I mostly hope I didn't make a complete ass of myself trying to roleplay the sister.
You did well. I had
Night,
no
everybody.
complaints. You played a sister as a sister.
Night.
See you later.
Bye.
Right.
And yeah, I'll post that seed on the forum with necessary info.
Just need to know the amount of auto pass and the armor.
Which
Thank
I
you.
have.
Ooh, I could. Baleful Eye is near unique. Damn.
Said near, not completely unique. You could still get it.
But if you only want one,
I only need one. It's a bionic eye that has a hell pistol built into
Actually,
it.
on that note, when it comes to bionics, how are we going to install them?
Yes, that's the thing.
We'll hit that rock when we get there. Most likely Doc will do it.
I'm going to try
Doc
to
is
get
the man who fixed up Skith.
I would rather try to get the apothecary to do mine.
Honestly, the apothecary wouldn't really do that. It's not really his jurisdiction. He fixes people. He doesn't upgrade them.
Yeah, Michael be able to go to the tech priests.
The tech priest could, in a few cases.
Like
by
the
raw
more
you
simple
can.
stuff.
By raw, you can also. Yeah, the GM might just assign an extra, say, -10 to the acquisition modifier in order to have it come with directions to someone who can install it.
Right.
Which is still an auto patch for this guy half the time.
Yeah, you're
so
just
once
buying
he
it
has
from the guy that
amount
has
up,
it, and he installs it as part of the fee. Makes sense.
So yeah, a baleful eye. It's just the bionic eye that has a hell pistol in it with a range of 10 meters.
What's funny is that's a very common, despite its near unique status, it's actually a very common desire for commissars to get. As the very first one was made by a very famous commissar, Yarick. And, well, I can kill with a glance is really fucking intimidating, huh?
Uh-huh.
That's why commissars want it.
Oh, you took my weapon? No, you didn't.
Ha! Loyalty
I'm out of ammo.
spirit.
No, I'm not. Yeah, they're literally killing with a glance, as some commissars love the concept of. Thus, why it would be on this planet, even near unique status, just means it's a rare, valuable piece of equipment. It's there, though. You'll find it
I should totally get a Cortex implant.
if you want it. Like I said, all we need is the data from Skith on what is like auto pass, and we can work it from there.
With those 600 XP, my commerce score is now 90.
There's very little he can't get you.
So, a good Cortex implant gives me unnatural intelligence times 2.
Brainy.
Anyway, I will see you all next week.
See ya.
Okay.
Night.
Ian, your job schedule working?
I'll probably be a little late, but it'll be like in the range of 20 to 30 minutes from now on.
All right.
It's all right.
All right.
See you next week, Tio.
Yep. See you.
Yep. Oh yeah, if I got that, my intelligence bonus would go up to 14.
Mm-hmm.